Tomodachi Life is one of Nintendo's weirder games, but I love it all the same. Hashtag Nintendo, hashtag Switch 2, hashtag Tomodachi Life. Tomodachi Life. Picking a thumbnail and post. Doing our TikToks. Yeah, I actually did a highlight reel for once. Can you believe it? I did a highlight reel on both the main channel and on... I made a bunch of TikToks that I've been uploading over the next day or two. Yeah, I actually did that for once. Alright, with that, let me hit this thing, do that. Okay, press that. Hit that, hit that. And we should be good. We should be live. Alright, we're on the Wii. We are playing Galaxy 2. Because oh my god, we started Galaxy 2, what, 3 weeks ago? And I was kind of trying to, alternate between Galaxy and Pokemon. And then I just kind of, we got busy with other things. But we're going to do the next 2 worlds. I thought about just blitzkrieging through the game and beating it tonight. We're not going to do that. We're going to play for 2 hours. If we're still going after that, we'll do Pokemon or something. Maybe I'll boot up maybe I'll show you what's going on in Silksong. I don't know. But no, even though, the Galaxy remake comes out, not remake, just re-release comes out in 3 weeks. No. We're gonna continue playing it on the Wii. Even though, I'll be honest, just looking at it, I think the Switch version looks so much smoother. Admittedly, we are playing on an OG Wii hooked up to an HDMI. And yeah, that's kind of messy to say the least. But yeah, I cannot believe... Because that's what I was saying with... I think I said this last time we played Galaxy. Is I really wish they had done a Switch version. Because I really liked Galaxy 1's Switch version. When we played that earlier in the year. And I was kind of disappointed we didn't get Galaxy 2. And now we have... Well, that cost $40 fucking dollars. We'll talk about it. But we might as well continue. You might not beat the game. I kind of wish I had done it last week so that way we could beat the game this week. Because it's only going to take us 1 more stream after this. But, what you gonna do? So tonight, we got 3 news stories, 2 very small ones, both of them Pokemon related. And then the big one being the Nintendo Direct, so we'll talk about that. And for WIBE, we got Taco Bell. Taco Bell did their whole Decades menu, and so, of course, I had that. We'll talk about it. We got Silksong, which is the only video game I've played, and I haven't even put that much time into. I've been so busy this week, and other things. And then, I watched Batman Begins, so I do want to talk about that. Because, I've talked about all these other DC movies. I watched Batman Begins again. I might as well talk about it. So I put that on the docket. And we got miscellaneous stuff. In case I can think of anything. In case I need to think of anything. And then I will say, we are not doing the Hublino League. We were doing the Marble League. Currently, the Hublino League is going on. And... there's a part of me that, if they had used Hublino League teams, if the Quicksilvers, and the Golden Orbs, and the, Purple Chaotix? I can't remember whatever the purple team is. It's not the Rockets. I can't remember what they are. If they had used actual Hublino teams in the Hublino League, we definitely would have checked it out. But the actual Hublino League this year, the 3rd ever Hublino League, the first time in years, it is... Let me pull it up here. Garbage. So they put out the statement on the Hablino League is the Hablino tournament returns. Many former teams declined their invites, already too busy training for future Marbula 1 or 2026's league. So the roster sees a very mix of populars, teams, and underdogs who are up to challenge themselves. So it's a small batch of teams. It is the Blackjacks, who I want to say were a Hablino team, the Bumblebees, the Minty Maniacs, the Oceanics, the Rojo Rollers, Team Momo, Team Primary, and the Wolfpack. That's it. It's a very small batch of teams. I do... How many is that? That's what, 8? I do kind of wish... Because they did a short recently with the Quicksilvers and the Golden Orbs. They should have at least brought back the Quicksilvers and the Golden Orbs. I don't need everybody to come back, but you literally just referenced them like 2 weeks ago. That would have been like a neat thing. Because, you know, Golden Orbs are a fan favorite, and Quicksilvers are the worst team in the league. And I kind of want to see how long they can keep that streak. You know, that'd be funny. But yeah, so I have no plans to do the Hablino League. But hey, if you want to check it out, go right ahead. If any of my teams had been in it, we definitely would have. If, you know, the Raspberry Racers had been in, Galactic, of course, my team. Go Galactic. Or, you know, anybody else, we definitely would have done it. But the fact that none of them showed, yeah, what you gonna do? Not that I hate the Bumblebees. I have not a soft spot for the Bumblebees, but, you know, like when I watch it on my own, I'll probably go for them, but we're not gonna stream it. Alright, with that, gaming news, like I said, we got 2 Pokemon stories. You know, Pokemon is continuing their tradition of revealing a new Mega Evolution every other week. Even though that might stop with today's news, because they revealed, like, 5 Mega Evolutions today. Maybe more, potentially. But, yeah, with that, this might be the last week of Mega Evolutions. I mean, the game's a month away. But hey, if they keep revealing them, we're going to keep talking about them. So that's our positive Pokemon story. Our negative Pokemon story is all about copyright. Nintendo / the Pokemon Company / Game Freak / Creatures / whoever the fuck else did continue with their campaign of terror, copywriting common game mechanics and pissing people off. So we're going to talk about that very briefly. I don't have much to say on it, but you know, I might as well mention it. And then the big story is the Nintendo Direct. I've broken up the Nintendo Direct into 2 parts, the 40th anniversary of Mario, and then the actual, like, everything else in the Direct, just because I felt like that was kind of fitting. I also did a section of stuff that I was surprised wasn't in the Direct. We'll talk about it at the end. So yeah, that's kind of our gaming news. I legitimately have 4 pages of notes. Not as many as we did for Gamescom last week, but still a fair few pages. So be aware of that. Is it time to do the slide? I think this is the slide. If you've never played Galaxy 2 before, I remember this in all the trailers. This was like such a big deal. The slide. And then later on, Sonic would rip it off. Even though you could argue this took some influence from Sonic. Sonic directly ripped off this level in, I think, Lost World. Yes. There's a game I think Lost World is on Steam, but I'm surprised they haven't tried to go back to that one. I'm more surprised they haven't gone back to Unleashed. All that game's problems aside, because it's got problems. Trust me. Whereas, to be fair, Lost World also has problems. But its problems are weirder. Yeah, its problems are weirder. Alright, let's start with Pokemon. So, last week, the Pokemon Company started these campaign ads. That was like, hey, here's my friend Malamar. My friend Malamar. you know, here's my favorite new Pokemon. And it was like this like artist who was like spray painting, and their favorite Pokemon was like Dedenne. But then one day they wake up and now their favorite Pokemon is Malamar, because Malamar is their friend. And it was just kind of this weird thing that like the Pokemon Company put out, but like we all knew it was a Mega Evolution thing. Like it kind of follows the pattern of what they've been doing, you know, with Hawlucha and Victory Bell, where they were started teasing something. Admittedly, they let this go on for like a week, and a bunch of creators got in on it. I don't think Nintendo/Pokemon Company paid anybody, but you know, people started playing along with the joke. Because if you don't know, or if you've never seen the Pokemon anime, Malamar is like the supervillain Pokemon. Like, it's a little, you know, squid that when it evolves when you turn it upside down. But it's like in-game lore. Wow, we did that on our first try. Malamar's lore is that it's like evil. That it's got like this genius level IQ and it wants to take over the world. That's Malamar's like whole shtick. And there was an entire episode of the anime where you find out Malamar is like an alien and that they're trying to like use Team Rocket to like take over the world or something. And then they just kind of like fuck off at the end of the episode. I don't know. I do very distinctly remember it, or at least seeing clips of it. So when it came to like this whole My Friend Malamar, it was like, okay, obviously this is something, you know, this is a Mega Evolution thing. If you've seen the Mega Evolution leaks, Malamar was in it. So that's kind of what we all expected. Actually seeing it, so we got that, and then a week later, the Pokemon Company reveals their My Friend Malamar trailer. Kind of like when they did with the Hawlucha, where you got like an animated one, and then we got like an in-game trailer. They actually did a live-action one, where it was actual real-life people, you know, talking about their friend Malamar, showing off their artwork and whatnot. And then revealing that it's a trainer who has a Mega Malamar. And what is Mega Malamar? I've seen it compared to like Mind Flayers from D&D. It also reminds me of like the aliens from Mars Attacks, if you've ever seen that. But it's got like this, all like the tentacles on its head, like fused together to become like a brain. Its body becomes like super thin, like it becomes like an arrow. And then it becomes basically a giant M. Like its body is shaped like a giant M. And it's got like this rainbow body, and then it's got like two arms sticking out. And they like swirl, and when they swirl with purple and green lights that hypnotize you. And you know, it's evil. It's Malamar, like that's the joke. I like Mega Malamar. I do think it's interesting. Will I use a Mega Malamar? I have no fucking idea. I have no, like I said, I have no plans for Legend ZA. I've always liked Inkay and Malamar, I should say. I love the gimmick of having to turn the system upside down to evolve them. And the fact that that's still how it works in Scarlet and Violet is so funny. I think that is a great gimmick for a Pokemon evolution. Because I just imagine a trainer turning their like system, like basically like if Pokemon were real, you'd have an Inkay, and then you would just like flip it upside down and it would evolve. I think that's funny. There is someone did point out though that because the whole joke is that Inkay is like the upright squid and Malamar is like upside down. They should have made Mega Malamar go right side up again. That would have been kind of funny. I see why somebody suggested that. And instead of being like an M, it becomes a W. I could have totally seen that, but I think the design we got is a good, fun design. The trailer, like I said, the trailer is good. I like the animated ones better, admittedly, but it's still a fine trailer. It gets the point across. And then the in-game trailer to like show it off in-game is funny, because like the trainers like doing battle, they mega evolve their Malamar. And then the Malamar hypnotizes their own trainer. And like early on, you see a shot of the trainer in their like 6 Pokemon. And then you see the shot again and it's just 6 Malamar. That's fun. I like that idea. That's a good joke. I can't wait to see somebody do, can they beat Pokemon Legends ZA with just Mega Malamar? Or with just 6 Malamars. I hope somebody does that. Not me, I do not have that skill, but I'm sure somebody could figure it out. The one thing that does kind of suck about some of these Mega Evolution things that we're getting is they're not telling us, like, abilities and, like, typing and whatnot. I kind of wish we were getting some of that information. I feel like some of that because, like, is Mega Malamar going to be the same as Malamar, but with boosted stats? Is it going to have, like, a new ability that does with, like, hypnosis or something? That, like, has, like, a higher chance of putting the opponent to sleep? At the moment, we don't know, right? They haven't revealed anything. The only thing we know for sure is that Mega Malamar is like double the size of normal Malamar. That's about it. But yeah, no, I think it's a cool, fun design. There's still a bunch of more Mega Evolutions that, you know, we know about because of the leaks that we haven't seen yet. And I've seen some people say that, no, this is the ones we got today are probably going to be the final ones. And I could see that. But I do actually hope that we keep getting a new Mega every other week. I think it's a fun thing to look forward to. There's one in particular I really want to see. There's a Pokemon I really like, one of my favorites of its generation, that allegedly has a Mega. And if the rumor is true, it might be one of my favorites ever. I love the potential idea, but I'm going to have to see it in execution. Oh, I forgot to mention. So I've been sick the past week. I got something on like Saturday night. I was feeling like a little stuffy. And then when I woke up on Sunday, I was just destroyed. And I felt awful. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Started feeling better on Wednesday. But yeah, for 3 days, I was just wrecked. You can probably still hear it. But yeah, it was bad. I was sick this week, and it sucks. Just a common cold. I didn't take a COVID test, but I don't think I had COVID. I might have, but I don't think I do. I don't know, that's the thing. Every year I'm like, oh, I gotta take a flu shot, you know? I gotta do that. Like, basically around this time. But by the time I think about, like, oh, I need to go get a flu shot, that's usually right after you get the flu. So the only times I was ever good was during COVID, where I was like, oh yeah, you know, you're getting a flu shot, you're getting a COVID shot, knocking them both out at the same time. But now the president's cut all funding to that. Well, RFK Jr. has especially. Nah, Luigi, I think I'm good. Alright, so that's our first Pokemon news. Let's talk about the fucked up shit. So, the Pokemon Company and Nintendo have been doing a lot of patents recently. Like, recently, they sued Palworld because of Palworld infringed patents that Nintendo created after Palworld had already, like, released. Like, right now, under the Trump administration, and technically even before that, people are just kind of doing whatever they want when it comes to patents. And Nintendo keeps doing them for Pokemon, and it's super fucked up. Like, I'm gonna be 100%. I do not think you should be able to copyright a game mechanic. Be that, you know, Nintendo copywriting Pokemon here, or, Warner Brothers copying the Nemesis system. Third example, I know PlayStation has, like, some, like, interactive mechanic or something that they copyrighted. Nintendo has a Splatoon copyright for playing mini games while doing loading sequences. At least I think Nintendo has that. PlayStation might also... Nintendo may have done it first and then PlayStation took it from them. I admittedly don't remember, but I want to say Nintendo has that. And yeah, it kinda sucks. I don't think you should be able to copyright video game mechanics, video game systems. To be fair, don't think you should be able to copyright much in general. Like, I'm all for fair use of IP. Oh my god, random off topic. Some kicks, you know how like whenever anything goes into the public domain, someone does like a public domain, like, oh, what if Mickey Mouse was a horror game? What if Winnie the Pooh was a horror movie? And it's all these shitty like horror movies that are just slopped together, fucking hot garbage. Somebody's making, well, so we know all about that. Somebody's doing something different finally. There's a Kickstarter I saw. It's called like Royalty Free Fight. So, you know, royalty free, free fight, or free for all. It might be royalty free for all. It's a Smash Bros style fighting game using entirely royalty free characters, royalty free music, royalty free stages. You know, everything's in the public domain. And I'll be honest, I think that's a fantastic idea. let me see if I can, let me just go to Kickstarter real quick. Let me see if I can find, assuming the project's already launched. I literally just saw it today. Yeah, it's called, okay, it's called Royalty Free for All. And it's a hand-drawn public domain smash 'em up. And you know, they've got a bunch of different characters. They've got Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz, Sweeney Todd, Mother Goose, Lilith, Sakura, Oliver Twist, Nancy, Lancelot. And then depending on if they hit funding goals, they're going to add Bigfoot, Frankenstein, and Dante from the Divine Comedy. I think that's a lot of fun. I think this is a really good idea. I love the Nessie design. I think that one's very cute. Dorothy is a dog. You know, it's like Dorothy and Toto got Shao-tuckered, but not nearly as horrific. Because again, it's a very cute, cartoony fighting game. I think this is great. I think this is a great thing. I haven't supported the Kickstarter, but because again, I just saw it this morning. But it's definitely on my radar. Have they reached their goal already? No, they're over halfway to reaching their goal. Okay, that's good. And the Kickstarter, oh, it only has 11 days left. I only heard about it today. I thought it launched today. Okay. Yeah, definitely give it a look. I'm adding it to my Remind Me. All right, back on subject. So Pokemon has recently filed a new trademark. You know, their last Pal World thing was that, like, they copyrighted the idea of, like, capturing a creature and then riding it / using it to glide. And so Pal World that had, you know, creatures that you could capture and then glide with, like, there was the fastest method for movement in the game was getting this, like, sock tube thing and then gliding off that. They had to remove that feature from the game because of the Nintendo lawsuit. Super fucked up. And so now, Nintendo's newest patent copyright is that they have patented the mechanic / the gameplay idea of capturing a creature and then summoning that creature in battle to fight other creatures that people may or may not have also captured. You know, the basic idea of Pokemon, they have copyrighted. And if I'm honest, they should not be able to copyright that. That's super fucked up. Because yes, I understand the Nintendo / the Pokemon Company hates Pal World. They don't want anyone ripping them off like that. But there are other smaller indie games that, you know, of people who grew up loving Pokemon, who take influence from Pokemon and want to do their own take on it. Right? Be that, you know, the ones that do exist, like Cassette Beasts, Ooblets, Temtem, right? All real games made by people with passion for the medium who are trying to do something great. And yeah, this trademark potentially completely fucks them over. And I do not think Nintendo should have this. Especially because, you know, they're copywriting this as if, like, they came up with the idea. Just a quick history lesson if you didn't know. Pokemon did not invent creature capturing in an RPG. Pokemon came out in 1996. You want to know what game actually did it first? Even though this one might not be the first one? Dragon Quest V. Yeah, Dragon Quest V did creature capturing before Pokemon, and is considered the widest, the most influential game on Pokemon. And Nintendo's just, basically saying, like, nope, even though they created that, which I don't think they should be able to copyright it either. But no, I think this is super fucked up, and a lot of people are like, oh, now they're going to use it to go after Digimon, which, Digimon, Pokemon, ancient rivalry from, console World War I or whatever. No, I think this is super fucked up. Nintendo / the Pokemon Company should not have this. I hope, better heads prevail, knowing the current presidential administration, because this is specifically for the United States. I don't think they will, but we'll see. But no, I do not think this is a copyright that Nintendo should have. I think this is, fucked. This is completely fucked, and fuck Nintendo for this. We're gonna say a lot of good things about Nintendo, but we're also gonna say some bad things as well. This is not the end of me shitting on Nintendo. But BT dubs. But just be aware that, Nintendo has just, this should be a layup year for them. They've got a new console, they've making some games people love. This should just be slam dunk after slam dunk. And yet they keep making these stupid fucking decisions that are just so anti-consumer. And it sucks. It really does suck to be a Nintendo fan. And today, even though, Nintendo Direct Day, usually that's, Christmas, yes, there were a lot of things, but it's still also super fucked, and, fuck Nintendo. They make great games, but they're a shitty company, especially this year. This year, they have been super shitty. Admittedly, not all of it is their fault. Some of it I will blame on the president, rightfully so. But that's only, 15%. 20% if I'm being generous. The rest of it is all them. Alright, with that, I guess let's, get to the positive stuff, again, I'm not done with this yet. Let's talk about the Nintendo Direct. So let's talk about the Nintendo Direct. Specifically, let's start off with the Mario 40th anniversary. Because this was a 60-minute Direct, but like I predicted, the first 20 minutes of the Direct was all about the Mario 40th anniversary. And then after that, they did all the general stuff, which was another 20 minutes. So we'll start off with the Nintendo stuff first, and then we'll get into everything else. So, if you don't know, it is Mario's 40th anniversary this year. Nintendo likes to make a big deal, at least in the past, few years. I don't know, I remember when Mario's 25th anniversary was. And I think we're only... I think we're only 10 years away from the 50th. And I remember the 25th. That's wild. But yeah, so they started off, hey, it's Mario's anniversary tomorrow. It is not, admittedly, I think it's his anniversary in Japan, which I think technically right now it is the 13th in Japan. So it is technically his anniversary, right now, I think. I'm pretty sure, at least I'm pretty sure it's his anniversary in Japan. It might be in America as well, but I know it's got to be Japan. Nintendo does all their other stuff based on Japan. And so they started off by showing off, hey, at their Kyoto Museum, Nintendo's got this whole gallery exhibit with all this, concept art from Mario, all this special stuff they've done over the years. A lot of things that's oh yeah, that's really cool to see. some of the original Mario designs. Because if you don't, the original Mario Bros. Levels for the NES game were all designed on graph paper. So they still have a lot of those. And yeah, that's stuff that's cool to see. The Nintendo Museum is one of those things where it's like, one day I would love to go see it. But that's not going to be for years. But they talked about other things they were doing. They're doing a special, like, light show in December. They talked about, like, the ticket. Like, oh, they were doing something with the ticket. I don't remember. I don't think I'm mad. I don't really care. But yeah, no, the big thing was that they're doing, like, this whole light show to celebrate the anniversary in December. They're also, Nintendo announced they're sponsoring the Kyoto Marathon. So, you know, they're doing that. They showed off, like, the little, like, badge you get, like, the number. But they say they're going to be doing other events as well. You're going to be able to run with Mario, whatever that means. I don't know. You know, Nintendo loves doing shit like this. Like, they used to own a baseball team for this exact reason. Which they still actually do have, like, shares of. Like, Nintendo still owns part of the Seattle Mariners. And on the Mariners uniform is a Switch 2 logo to kind of show that off. You know, they love doing stuff like that. That's Nintendo for you. After that, they went on to, you know, our first actual news story, the next Mario movie. You know, we knew the next Mario movie has a release date of April 3rd, so we knew at some point we were going to get information. It really sucks that yesterday it did leak. Like months ago, on their website, Universal put up a thing that was like, hey, the next Mario movie is going to be called Super Mario World. And it was like, oh, okay, that's cool. Somebody else, however, posted like a can of Old Spice that had the movie's title as Super Mario Galaxy. So, of course, after the whole... That was before the World thing. And so everyone was like, okay, well, World makes sense. And I'll be honest, they hint at the end of the last movie that the next movie is going to be Yoshi. So the next movie being World made a lot of sense. I like the title Super Mario World more than I do Super Mario Bros. 2, the movie. I think that's a better title. And instead, we get the trailer. It's Mario. He's lying on a hill. We follow a butterfly. It's not the Kirby orange butterfly, but a yellow Mario butterfly. But presumably it has the same powers of God that, you know, the Morphonite butterfly does. Presumably. I've seen nothing to disprove that. I don't know. I guess we'll have to get Matt Pat on it. When he's, you know, not busy running for president. Whatever. And then it eventually goes through Peach's castle, it goes up to space, and then the movie is revealed to be Galaxy 2, or Galaxy. I knew that at some point I had predicted we were going to get a Galaxy movie. A Galaxy movie always made sense, but I always said save it for the third one. You know, your first one was Super Mario Bros. Second one should be Super Mario World, and then your third one should be Galaxy. Like, Galaxy should be that escalation. But I guess they instead found more inspiration in Galaxy. I think it's a good idea still. Galaxy's got a lot of potential. It's got the best music of any Mario game. And while they were talking about it, they do specifically mention that. You know, so we get that. We get the title sequence. Chris Meledandri comes out. And he's like, yep, you know, all the director's working hard, our Paris animation team. They talked about the cast. I was expecting them to reveal the new cast. At least one or two people, like Rosalina, and then if like Daisy or Wario, I was expecting to see them. Instead, they reveal, hey, guess what? Chris Pratt's back, Anya Taylor-Joy, Jack Black. They don't reveal any new cast members. It's just all the ones we already knew about. And it's really weird, because it really feels like they're setting up to reveal somebody new. And then they just don't. So, yeah, so who's voicing Rosalina? Because that's the big question. Someone's going to be voicing Rosalina. Who's it going to be? I joke, in my reaction, I joke Aquafina. Because Aquafina has been the joke cast for Daisy. Which, can I be honest, I think it is totally possible that Aquafina voices Daisy. I think there are better choices than that, obviously. But she's got to show up in one of these movies Okay, I don't hate Aquafina as much as everybody else. I know some people really fucking hate her. I do not. I think she's okay. Yeah, oh, we'll get to that. I'm gonna get to that in a second. I am so fucking annoyed at that. I think that's worse than Mario Kart World. But we'll talk about it. We will talk about that. So who do I think is voicing Rosalina? I don't think it's Aquafina. I keep saying that as a joke. I don't want to manifest it. I don't want to jinx it. I don't think it's Aquafina. My guess, watching Kinda Funny, I want to say either Andy or Snowbike Mike suggested Ariana Grande. I can see that. After Wicked this year, you know, Wicked last year, and then Wicked for Good this year, if they reveal Ariana Grande as Rosalina, I could see it. If she plays it like she does Glinda in Wicked, I think she could pull that off. Especially if they decide to lean more into the music. Because that was people loved the Peaches song in the original Mario Bros. Movie. So I would not at all be surprised if the Mario 2 is a musical. I fully do think that is a possibility. And if you get Ariana Grande to be Rosalina, I wouldn't be surprised. The other one, because it's also been a joke, there's been a running joke over at Kinda Funny that Sabrina Carpenter is going to be voicing Yoshi. Obviously, that's not going to happen. But she is an actress. She worked for Disney for like a decade. I could totally see Sabrina Carpenter voice Rosalina. Again, especially if they lean into the whole musical thing. I think that is also completely possible. I don't know if either of them would happen, but I could totally see it. I would, if I had to pick one, I would want, Stephanie Beatrice? Is that it? Is that her name? Who she can also sing. Stephanie Beatrice. Yeah, Stephanie Beatrice. I think she would do a good Rosalina. Kind of that, like, monotone. I think Rosalina would work well with that. I know I'm maybe alone on that one, but I think she could pull it off. So there's my fan cast, I guess. I know, don't let me cast ever again. Trust me, I'm used to it. I don't know, I still stand by Kimiko Glenn for Amy Rose and Sonic. I stand by that one. I think that's a great choice. But yeah, I'm excited for a Galaxy movie. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I really enjoy the first Galaxy. Lean more into the story. Oh my gosh. Okay, wait. The comment's so long it doesn't even all appear on screen. Let me see. Alright. Like, I owned a Wii back in the day, but never got to play Mario Galaxy since my family really only played Wii Sports and Wii Sports Resort. As an adult, I'm happy that I get a chance to play it, but I hate that I either have to buy the game full price, emulate them, or I'm assuming emulate them, but I only have a MacBook M1, so I basically have to emulate it on a Mac, because I'm a college student who picked a Mac because of convenience. Sue me. Gladly. No, hey, at least it's not a Chromebook. I'll give you that. Or I have to go buy a Wii in the game to go play. And what do you think I should do? Okay, here's the thing. I legitimately think you could probably find a Wii in copies of Galaxy 1 and 2 for $80. I think it is totally within reason that you, because there are over 150 million Wiis out there. You can definitely find a Wii for like $60 if you look in the right places. And then I bet copies of Galaxy and Galaxy 2 are like $5 each. I bet you could probably, I don't know. If I had more time, I would run this experiment, but I 100% think you could find a Wii in copies of Galaxy 1 and 2 for cheaper than $80, or for cheaper than $70, which is the combo pack. However, with that being said, as someone who is sitting here right now playing Galaxy, I honestly think the remasters look very nice. I think they look nice, but I also think they have better controls. I don't actually think the Wiimote is a good controller. Like, at all. I think having it on, like, an actual functional controller, even Joy-Con, right? Joy-Cons as a functional controller, crazy as that might be, I think is a better way to play it. Honestly, playing on the Wii kind of sucks. I kind of hate it. Using a Wiimote and a nunchuck. I think the modern day, the controls we had in the All-Stars collection were so much better. But I totally get it. Hey, at least as far as we know, this one isn't limited edition. You know, they're not only selling these games for like 6 months, and like the All-Stars collection, and then they'll just disappear forever. So we at least have that going for us, which is nice, I guess. I know people say emulate on Steam, but that's horribly expensive. Yeah, I get that. Admittedly, I pulled out an actual, my old childhood Wii to do this. So, yeah, I totally get that. But just, to be fair, it's not like you're stealing from Nintendo. If you were to buy a used Wii and a used copy of Galaxy, that's not money you're taking away from Nintendo, first of all. And second of all, you're not also robbing them of potential profits. Because just because you would buy a Wii and a copy of Galaxies 1 and 2, does not mean you would also buy a copy of the remake. Those are not, equivalent. So you're either way, you're potentially not stealing from Nintendo. It's like people who say oh, well, if you're pirating a show, then you're potentially robbing that company of money. No, if I didn't pirate it, I was just never going to watch it. So yeah. And yes, they are definitely holding nostalgia hostage, but I mean, when you're a 100 and 30-something-year-old company, 135-year-old company, no wait, 136-year-old company, you can kind of, they can do what they want, sadly. Alright, so I do actually want to talk about these Galaxy ports. Now, now that we've been talking about them, better to just buy Mario Galaxy 2 since honestly, potentially, but if you want my hot take, currently playing Galaxy 2 and having replayed the original Galaxy a few months ago now, I honestly liked Galaxy 1 more. Not that I'm having a bad time with Galaxy 2. Galaxy 2 is a good, enjoyable game. But so far, I actually enjoyed Galaxy 1 more. I don't know, maybe it's that I feel like it's a little tighter, because, it's kind of like Portal 1 versus Portal 2. Yeah, Portal 2 has more to do in it, but Portal 1 is like a tighter, neater experience, whereas Portal 2 has more, but it's a little sloppier. I don't know, just whatever you do, don't buy them both individually. If you think you're gonna buy both, buy them both together. Save that $10 where you can. I admittedly also checked the voucher thing. I don't know if the Galaxy games are going to be on the Nintendo voucher, but if you can get both them on voucher, that might save you another $10. Assuming you're going to buy another game. I guess I'm just more upset that in order for me to try Galaxy 1 and 2, I have to shell out the price of Mario Kart World, which isn't... Well, it's actually 10... yeah, if you want to buy them both individually, it's the same price. It's actually kind of $10 cheaper. Either way, it's super fucked up. Yeah. If they, if they had each been $30, it still would have been fucked up. But I at least, Nintendo has set that precedent in the past. But them both being 40, no, Nintendo. That's too much. Because we just had the 3D All-Stars collection, and each of those were 20. It was 20 for 3 games. It was 60 total. Divide that by 3 games, that's 20 a game. Unless they're saying, Galaxy was worth 30 then, and it's worth 40 now, or if it was worth 40 then, and, you know, Sunshine was worth 10, and the original was worth, what, less than that, even? I don't know. Either way, yeah, no. So, I need to... So, let me explain all. So, in the Mario Anniversary Collection, for people who did not see the Direct, they revealed, hey, because the next Mario movie is Galaxy, that means they're going to be re-releasing the Galaxy games. They come out October 2nd. They do have some new stuff. They added the storybook. They added new storybook pages. Plus, it sounds like the storybook pages can be done in Galaxy 2, which they cannot be in the original. If you're playing on Switch 2, I did on the website, they posted that the games are going to be in 4K. So if you want to play Galaxy in 4K, that does exist. It's not like a remake or anything, but, you know, it's in 4K. But the asterisk is that if you buy both games together, it costs $70. But if you buy them individually, it costs $40 for each game. So buy them together, it's $70. Buy them individually each, it's $80. That sucks. I expected it to be $30. Because most of the time Nintendo does $30. I still think that's too high, but most of the time that's what they do. But $40 sucks. Because that means that people who I know who owned a copy of Mario Galaxy, because growing up I knew people who owned a copy of Galaxy, but like I don't want to go and find a Wii just to play the game. Yeah, no, it sucks. It's an awful situation that, yeah, Nintendo is definitely profiting off of people's nostalgia. I honestly, like I said, I think this is worse than Mario Kart World. When they charged $80 for Mario Kart World, at least they had the excuse of being like, hey, this is a premium quadruple A Nintendo game. Even though it definitely does not feel like it. Like, if you've played Mario Kart World, it does not feel like a premium Nintendo game. Like, at least Tears of the Kingdom kind of did a little bit. Mario Kart World does not. Like, Donkey Kong feels more premium. And they only charge $70 for that one. Well, now it's $90, but that's because of the DLC. So yeah, no, I think this is worse than Mario Kart World. Them charging $80 is, yeah, definitely more of them like, oh, well, we know there's a movie coming out, and we know you're going to want to play these games after you see the movie, so we might as well squeeze out every penny we can. Like, at this point, I'm almost tempted to sell my Switch OLED. Mind you, I bought the Switch OLED at my college. We have a buying and selling Discord. The people stole stuff. I got my OLED for $150. Tempted to just sell my OLED and just switch over to a Steam Deck. It depends on what you do. Honestly, yeah, it depends. Because honestly, $150 for a Switch OLED's a steal. That's actually a pretty good deal. I don't know. Personally, I don't like selling my old consoles. Because there's always a point where I feel like I want to go back. Even if there's like for me personally, I believe that if there's a 1% chance that I will one day want to go back and play these games again, I want to keep my console, I want to keep my old games. Because that's, Galaxy I've had since it released. But one of the games I did trade into GameStop back in the day was New Super Mario Bros. Wii. And I actually regret that. Because I want to replay New Super Mario Bros. Wii. But I don't have a copy. Or at least I didn't. I actually picked up a copy relatively recently. And after we beat Galaxy 2 on stream, I think the next game we're going to play is New Super Mario Bros. Wii. Yeah. But the only reason why I won't sell it is because you can't transfer it over the eShop Switch. Yeah. Now, I honestly, at that price, you got it for a steal. I would say just save up and... Because there's no... I mean, you potentially could get, like... Probably like $200 for a Switch OLED, potentially. But no, I would just save up. Maybe get if you really want a Steam Deck, maybe look into getting one refurbished. They're usually like $100 cheaper. Depends on the model as well, if you're doing an OLED or an LCD. But no, I still think the Switch has its value. It also depends on what you're gonna play. So let's see. So along with the announcement of these Mario games that are way too expensive, they also announced some very expensive amiibo. So they're doing 2 new Mario Galaxy amiibo. One which is Mario launching out of the launch star, and then the other one which is Rosalina reading the storybook. If I'm gonna be honest, I think these figures look fantastic. Because here's the thing about amiibo, at least conceptually, is that they're supposed to be budget collectibles. You know, they're not as high quality as like your $170 Nendroid, but they're also not as cheap as like a Funko Pop. They're budget collectibles. And as budget collectibles go, I think this Mario and this Rosalina amiibo look fantastic. These are bigger than your standard amiibo sizes. Not by much, but they're a little bigger. I think these are great ideas. What kills these for me is, well, yes, they're your $170 Nendroid. They still are $30 each. No, wait, $40. Oops, no. Because if you didn't hear, because of Donald Trump's tariffs, Nintendo had to raise prices on a bunch of their products, and amiibos went up by like $5 to $10. So these things were probably originally $30, and then because of Donald Trump, they're now $40. That sucks. Getting both of these amiibo costs the same as buying both of these games. That sucks, man. That really does, because they're great looking figures. I love them both. I'm out of room for my amiibo. I've got a whole cabinet filled with them. It's completely full. I realized with the last one I bought, the Donkey Kong one, that it's like, I have no space for this. I don't know where I'm going to put this. My cabinet's full. It's beyond bursting. So that sucks. But, you know, cool looking amiibo. We got a lot of amiibo this direct, by the way. We got, what? 7 amiibos? So that was crazy. Also, these amiibos, even though Galaxy comes out next month, these amiibos don't come out until April 2nd. And if you wonder why April 2nd, that's the day the Mario movie comes out. Technically, it comes out April 3rd, but, you know, Nintendo releases stuff on a Tuesday, movies come out on a Friday. Hat in Time's really good. Yeah, no, that's a pretty good one. I don't think it plays exactly like Galaxy, but, you know, that one's really good. You probably don't have a PlayStation, a PS5, but Astrobot reminds me a lot of Galaxy. What's the other one? Oh, Kirby. If you pick Kirby in the Forgotten Lands, also has a similar-ish feeling if you haven't played that one either. Alright, what's next? Oh, so they're doing a Galaxy amiibo, but they're also releasing Rosalina's storybook. So you know how Rosalina has like her storybook with her like diary in it that everybody loves. I don't know anybody who hates Rosalina's storybook. I'm sure they exist. I've never met a person. Consoles I have are literally a new 3DS, an Xbox 360, and a Switch. I'm last gen and light years behind. Yeah, fair. So yeah, Hat in Time may not be bad, and yeah, Kirby, if you haven't picked it up. Again, it's apples and oranges, but it's also a really good Kirby game. Especially the 3DS Kirby games. Planet Robobot and Triple Deluxe they're 2D platformers, but they're also very good. But yeah, Forgotten Lands on Switch is also a good, if you want that, like, feeling. I don't know, you might have already played all of them. You say that, I used my Wii to watch Netflix until like 2017. Because I didn't always own an HD. I didn't always own an HD TV. I had a tube TV until after Mario Odyssey came out. I think I got my first flat screen in like 2018, and like probably for Christmas 2017. Before then, I had a tube TV where I used the Wii Netflix. So yeah, I completely relate. So yeah, on PlayStation the Super. Oh, and the Switch 2 is not region locked, so if you save some money there, that might actually not be bad. Yeah, that might not actually be bad. Did I say both the Switch and the Switch 2 are not region locked, so it doesn't matter where you get it from. Well, yeah, there's a Japanese company. Yep, yeah, that sounds about right. Just be careful of tariffs. So that Rosalina storybook, I honestly do think I'm gonna buy this. I think the Rosalina storybook looks cool. It's $25, which I don't actually think is that bad. $25 for like a cool collectible book. I spent more money on fucking Fourth Wing, and those books fucking suck. I've read every one of them, but man, they're bad. Love them to death. But yeah, I spent more money on those than I would with this Rosalina storybook. I think it'd make a cool coffee table thing. Oh no, I completely get it. I think it's super fucked up what Nintendo's doing. Yeah, no, I completely understand. Yeah, but yeah, no, I mean, on one hand, it's cool to see Mario Galaxy again, because these are great games. I said it earlier in my live reaction to the Direct. I see the argument for the original Galaxy being one of the best games of all time. If somebody were to say Galaxy is the best game of all time, I'd find it hard. I probably would disagree, but I'd see where they were coming from. Oh my gosh, I was coughing there so bad, and I was coughing, and I was like, don't mess up, don't mess up. I'm amazed I did that. I thought I screwed that up. With 3 extra coins. I thought I messed that up. Oh my gosh. So what was next? What happened next in the Nintendo Direct? Oh, we got a new Mario Tennis game. So, the last Mario Tennis game came out in early 2018. Mario Tennis Aces. That was 7 years ago. To be fair, that was a while. Like, 7 years is a long time. In, small human lifespan scales. Especially in like, console generations, that's a whole generation. However, I still feel like we should not have gotten a Mario Tennis. I feel like Mario Tennis Aces was still recent enough that we shouldn't have gotten a new one. I kind of wish they had spent some more time between Tennis Aces. Mainly because I kind of wish we had gotten a different Mario sports game. I would have loved Mario Baseball. I had, again, another game I traded away to GameStop. Mario Super Sluggers. I loved Mario Super Sluggers. Lot of fun. But yeah, I would like that. Mario Hoops, basketball would have been cool. And then the other thing, they've never made Mario Hockey. The official pastime of Canada, potentially. I'd actually have to fact check that. But the Canadian sport of hockey has never been made into a Mario sports game. That kind of feels like, that feels like missed potential. Like, I totally get why Nintendo wouldn't make Mario, like, American football. I totally get that. But hockey's pretty decent. I know, you know, people play hockey. I get why they do baseball. Baseball's huge in Japan. It's also big in Korea. If you didn't know that. Yeah, baseball's huge in Japan. It would have been cool to get into Mario Baseball. But instead, we got another tennis game. Now, to be fair to Mario Tennis Fever, I do think this is the most interesting looking Mario Tennis in a while. Because my problem with Aces and Ultra Smash, the Wii U one, were that they were just kind of generic. They didn't take that many risks. They didn't have that many crazy ideas. Ultra Smash was awful. If you never played Ultra Smash on the Wii U, it's maybe one of the worst Mario sports games ever. It arguably is the worst Mario sports game ever. It's just bad. It's poorly thought out. The Ultra Smash mechanic just isn't fun. Aces has some good ideas. Aces, if you've never played it, kind of plays like a fighting game in a weird way. Like, it uses fighting game mechanics for its tennis mode, and it kind of works. It definitely has the problem of because it's like a fighting game. You know, some characters are better than others, and if you're not playing a good character, you're gonna suffer. Tier lists really matter in that game. So I hope this new one avoids some of that. To be fair to it, it has 38 characters. That's a lot of characters. That's the most in any Mario Tennis game. So I think that's a good start. The other thing is that the new mechanic of this one is that you can use these fever rackets. And the fever rackets are basically like power-ups. They're special abilities. So, you know, there's a fire one, there's a shadow one that creates like a Shadow Mario clone, there's an ice one that leaves like an ice ring on the ground. There's all sorts of other ones. Like, I see the metal block, I see there's a thwomp one. There's 30 different of these special ability rackets. And that, I think, makes the game more interesting. Because the problem with some of these Mario Tennis games is that it's just tennis. Like, if I wanted to play tennis, I would just pick up, like, Serena Williams Tennis 2025, or whatever the hell the game's called. No, I want Mario Tennis because I want it to be creative. I want it to be wacky. I want it to be interesting. And it's just not. They really just aren't. Like, Ultra Smash and Aces. Aces is admittedly a little better, but they're all just kind of boring. Like, that's my problem with Mario Golf. I feel about Mario Golf the same way a lot of people feel about Aces. Because I know a lot of people do actually like Tennis Aces. And I don't really get it, but okay, people do. But I like Mario Golf Super Rush. But its big problem is that it's, yeah, kind of generic. Kind of boring. You know, they don't do anything that special or interesting. Like I want, like, the Mario Golf DS game, 3DS game, had, like, giant big world. They have, like, all these, like, magic creative things. And then the other games just kind of don't do that. And it sucks, because it's just not as fun. But giving the characters power-ups, that makes things more interesting. Another thing in this game is wonder effects. They're bringing in the wonder effects from Super Mario Odyssey. I think that's a great idea. That, I think, makes things a lot more interesting. So that's cool. Other modes, they're going to have tournament mode. They're going to have a trial tower. You know, climb to the top. There's like a swing test mode. And then, you know, they learn, kind of like Aces, it's going to have a story mode. The story mode for this one is specifically all the characters get turned into babies. So we get our first ever appearance of Baby Waluigi. Because we've never had a baby. We've had Baby Wario before. We've never had a Baby Waluigi. So we get to see Baby Waluigi for the first time. I wonder how long until he gets added to Mario Kart. No Baby Rosalina yet, though. Like, they had a chance to put Baby Rosalina in a new game, and they just didn't do it. Instead, you know, it's just Baby Peach, and I don't even know if it might not even be Baby Daisy. Just kind of seems like an overthought. I don't know, maybe they'll be in the story, but still. But no, I think this Mario Tennis, this is one of the better looking ones. It's got some interesting things, it's doing some things different. I think this one has potential to be good. I just kind of wish we had gotten something else. Not that I'm really going to hold it against the Direct. To be fair, we all expected a Mario sports game. We got a Mario sports game. I'm not going to hold it too much against the Direct, I should say. A little bit. Next up, they talked about Mario Wonder. So Mario Wonder is getting a Switch 2 expansion, and it adds a DLC called Meetup at Bella Bell Park, which, if I had to compare it to anything, if you played the Kirby's Return to Dreamland remake from like 2 years ago, maybe even it might have even been just last year, they had Merry Magoland, which was like a Magalore theme park. This kind of feels like that. You're at Bella Bell, which is just a theme park where you can play different mini-games. It's a mini-game theme park DLC. If I'm gonna be honest, when I first saw that, I was like, we just had Mario Party Jamboree. I was actually kind of disappointed. There are some potentially fun mini-games in there. There's like a hide-and-seek one that could be fun. Admittedly, I think the map is kind of small from what we've seen, but I think that's got potential. There's a coin collecting one that reminds me of the bonus games in New Super Mario Bros. Wii / New Super Mario Bros. 2. There's a versus battle to, you know, see who can, beat each other up. There's a bomb relay where you work together with a friend and you try to, you have to, toss, hot potato a bomb back and forth or else it's gonna blow up. That's kind of interesting. You know, it's taking pre-existing levels and adding, new gimmicks to them. That's got potential, kind of like what Kirby did. That's got potential to make things more interesting. There's a donut block maker mode, which is kind of like if you ever played New Super Mario Bros. Wii or New Super Mario Bros. U with 5 players. It's kind of like the 5th player who could create platforms in that game. Which, if you ever played that game, that mode fucking sucked. Oh my gosh! If you ever want to see a good example of how that mode could blow up in your face, go watch Achievement Hunter. They did New Super Mario Bros. Wii U, and it was awful. Jeff literally kills them over 100 times just by being a dick with the platforms. It's really funny. I think Jeff's hilarious in that, especially when it comes to pissing off Ray. But, because yeah, Ray still worked at the company at that point. But no, it's, oof. So I'm not looking forward to this donut thing. There's a jump to the beat one, which I hate. I hate the jump to the beat level. Mainly because I have no sense of rhythm, right? I fell asleep in a... What was the example I used last time? I fell asleep in a... Tome. I don't remember what the example I used last. You know, I'm making fun of the metronome thing. Yeah, I've got no sense of rhythm. They did say, though, for everything they showed off, there's plenty of stuff they didn't, including the 2 things they hinted at was the Koopalings are coming back. Now, I will say, I do not like the Koopalings. I think they're stale. I think they are overused. Nintendo kind of used them in every game for a while, and I really got sick of them near the end. And I don't think... Some people say that the Koopalings would have made Wonder have good bosses. I completely disagree. I don't think adding the Koopalings would make Mario bosses good. If you want to make Wonder bosses good, you gotta do them like the boss we're fighting right now. But they're not gonna do that, let's be honest. But hey, the Koopalings are back, and then Captain Toad. Captain Toad is in Mario Wonder, but he just, gives you, a bonus, coins or seeds or whatever. He doesn't really do much, so them giving Captain Toad something to do is a good thing. We also see the other group members of the Captain Toad Brigade. Like in the trailer, we see Blue Toad. So I'm sure we'll see the yellow one, and then the green one, which I think the green one's the sleepy one. I don't remember. But yeah, they did say there's going to be other stuff. We did get we didn't get a release date, but they say spring 2026. So that's going to be, if it comes out April 2nd, I will in no way be surprised. I think April 2nd, you know, having it come out the same day as the second Mario movie makes a lot of sense. Because another thing that they did not announce in the trailer, but people spotted hidden in the trailer, is Rosalina. Rosalina is not a playable character in Mario Wonder. For some reason, I'll be honest, I have no idea why she's not playable. It's like the one big omission in the game. And yeah, someone spotted in the trailer, you can see Rosalina. She's in like one of like the bottom like little boxes. You can go on Twitter and you can see screenshots of it. But yeah, so it looks like they're going to be adding a new character of Rosalina, which makes perfect sense. I stand by Mario Wonder has kind of set a new bar for characters that should be in new Mario games. And I think from here on out, every Mario game should have Daisy, it should have Peach, it should have Rosalina, and fuck it, let's throw Pauline in everything from now on as well. I mean, give us, you know, 4 guys, 4 girls, just kind of makes sense. I don't know, we'll see, but I think it works. And then on top of that, the little talking flower from Mario Wonder, Nintendo is making the talking flower from Mario Wonder into a Spirit Halloween style animatronic, where when you walk in front of it, it'll like say something. And they've presumably programmed a bunch of phrases into it. I'll be honest, it's really stupid. Kind of like, it reminds me a lot of like Alarmo. It's one of those weird Nintendo decisions that nobody really needs, but it's kind of charming that they did it anyways. Will I buy one? Probably not, but to be fair, I did buy an Alarmo, so you never know with me. I don't know, Nintendo... I realized while I was watching the Direct earlier today, I kind of pointed out that I own a lot of plastic Nintendo crap that is basically my generation's Hummels, or, you know, Beanie Baby. Well, okay, Beanie Babies were also kind of my generation. Yeah, Beanie Babies are millennial as well. Like, they're also Gen X, but they're also millennial. At least I think so. I think we were all babs when Beanie Babies came out. I think that was, what, the early 90s? I don't remember. I don't know. I have a lot of plastic bullshit from Nintendo. A lot of amiibos, which, don't get me wrong, I love my amiibos. I think it's, again, as like a toy, they're not really that cool, but as like a cheap collectible figure that at least didn't break the bank at the time, I'm really fond of them. So yeah, I saw someone compare this, the talking flower to a Furby, and yeah, that's definitely what it reminds me of. It's like like a Furby, but it's the flower from Mario Wonder, which I do find the flower from Mario Wonder endearing. I know some people hate it, I don't. And then the last thing they showed off for the 40th anniversary, they ended not on a Mario game, but a Yoshi game. Yoshi and the Mysterious Book, which I'm going to be honest, is an awful title. What an awful title for a game. To be fair, Yoshi games are kind of known for shit like that. But basically, Yoshi, this book comes crashing down. The book is called Mr. E, which, okay, Mr. E, you know, mystery, mysterious. I get the connection. The E, we find out, just stands for encyclopedia, so it's not actually anything like mysterious so far. If I had to compare this game to anything else, it reminds me of that Princess Peach game that came out a few years ago, Princess Peach Showtime, which, you know, that was a perfectly fine game. But it was also definitely like a kid's game. It was made for, you know, younger children. I'm talking like, you know, 10 or younger. you know, I'm sure older people could play it and enjoy it, but it definitely felt like it was made for younger kids. This Yoshi game feels the same way, which it's like, oh, well, it's Yoshi. Obviously, it's made for younger kids. Some of those Yoshi games are a motherfucker, man. If you haven't, like, I know Yahtzee seems all cutesy and fun. If you have not played some of those old Yoshi games, those can be fucking hard. At least I felt like they were. But no, the one thing I do like about this game is the art style. You've got, like, this whole, like, book art style that I do think looks very nice. I think it's a good looking art style. The gameplay it's not like your traditional Yoshi game. This seems to be more about, like, you're filling out an encyclopedia. So you're in this world, you're exploring, you're meeting new enemies and hostiles, and you'll, like, go up to a new enemy and be like, oh, hey, here's the, here's this little flower creature. Hey, it can ride on your back. Hey, you know, if it touches these other flowers, it'll cause the flowers to bloom. Oh, hey, we're at the infinite one-up glitch. Yeah, this is where you do the infinite one-up glitch. I remember doing it as a kid. I don't think we're gonna do it. But yeah. No, this game, I wonder if this is gonna be a puzzle game, this new Yoshi game. Because it kind of feels like there's one thing where it's like, hey, when you walk through these dandelions, the dandelion fluff goes everywheres. And if it hits a rock, it'll put cracks in the rock. Like, the roots will grow in and crack the rock. And it's like, oh, that's a puzzle. Like, that's an actual, like, you have to, like, use the dandelion to know it cracks the rock to, like, solve a puzzle. So I think potentially this is less of, like, a platformer and more of a puzzle game. Potentially. So that's at least a little interesting. I don't know, as the last thing to end off the showcase, it's a little underwhelming. I know a lot of people wanted a 3D Mario. I do not think, you know, especially with getting Donkey Kong Bonanza, I don't think we can hold the lack of a 3D Mario game against this Direct. I think that, you know, we got a game from the Mario team that is good enough. And if they were to, like, I seen some speculation that now that we have, you know, Galaxy 1 and 2 are coming back, the next Mario movie is called Galaxy, Nintendo could be in production of Galaxy 3. I think that is totally within the realm of possibility. I don't want to put any writing on the wall, but, you know, if that does happen, that might take a few years. But I would totally be down for Galaxy 3. Yeah, I would love me some Galaxy 3. Oh, that's just straight up a star. I figured we were gonna get like a 1-up or something. I didn't realize that was a whole star. So yeah, that's all the Super Mario 40th anniversary stuff. It's okay, you know. Like I said, I like Galaxy 1 and 2, even though I'm replaying Galaxy 2 right now. You know, I liked Mario Wonder. Mario Galaxy the movie sounds cool. But I feel like it's a little underwhelming. I feel like they were just missing, like, one big thing. If they had had, like, one big announcement, I feel like this Mario section would have been amazing. Outside of that, it's just kind of good, and it gets worse when you look at the pricing. So that does suck. But there still are some cool things in here. Alright, so I guess let's get to the Nintendo Direct part of the Nintendo Direct. So what actual Nintendo Direct stuff did we get? It started off with this game called Stormlancer, which I don't know if I've ever heard of before. I don't know if this is a game that's already released, but it's a 2D roguelite. It's got this like 80s sci-fi anime inspiration. Personally, it kind of reminded me of like Voltron. Like, imagine if Voltron was made on, like, a much cheaper budget. It looks okay. I don't know. It came out today. But there are just too many games to play right now. I have way too many games. I don't have time for something new. Next up is Dinkum. Dinkum is a survival game where you're in Australia. You're in the Australian outback, and you're building a town, meeting villagers. Yes, it has Animal Crossing elements, but it reminds me a lot more of a game we'll see later. Like, it's funny. I compare the game we see later on to like Dragon Quest Builders and Timberborn. Dinkum is also a pretty apt comparison, I feel. But no, this is a game, I've never played this game, but I've definitely seen YouTubers like Floyd Sun and Shawnee Do play it. So I've definitely heard of it before. It's definitely out on like Steam and Epic. But hey, now it's coming to console. Right, let's see, nope. Please don't die, don't die, don't die. I don't know how we didn't die right there. But yeah, this is not a type of game that's for everyone, but if it is your style, you'll probably like it. Next up is Popcom. This is a game that I learned already existed, but it's a multiplayer game where you can play up to 4 players, and each player has a different color. And you have to use your color to like solve puzzles, beat bosses. It reminds me a lot of like Hazelight game, like, Split Fiction, or specifically it reminds me of Split Fiction. Because there are missions in Split Fiction where, like, Zoe is red, and... I was gonna say Mira, but no, those are the K-pop Demon Hunters. I do not remember... Zoe and... I think her name's Zoe. Whatever, Mia? Is it Zoe and Mia? Can we have 2 characters where one group where one of them is Zoe this year? Regardless, it reminds me a lot of, Split Fiction, where with those puzzle colors, where like one player is red, one player is blue, the red player can only blast red targets, the blue player can only blast blue targets. It's pretty fun in Split Fiction. And yeah, this game actually doesn't look that bad. It kind of reminds me of, there's a game back in the day made by PopCap, the Plants vs. Zombies people before they got bought out by EA, called Zumba, which was all about you were like this frog statue shooting out colored orbs. And it was actually kind of fun. I admittedly was never too great at it, but it was a neat game at the time. And yeah, this reminds me a lot of that. So yeah. That comes out in the holiday this year. Next up, they did talk about Tomodachi Life. I am very excited for this game. I replayed Miitopia earlier this year, had a great time with it, but Tomodachi Life is one of Nintendo's weirder games. You create your friends in Mii form, and then you have them do weird stuff, and it's not even you have them do weird stuff. It's just like, it's like putting ants in an anthill, and then you just kind of see what they do. But in this one, like, you can see what the ants are dreaming about, and they have weird dreams, and you could, like, give them stuff to make them do certain things. They can be married, they can have kids. It's kind of like, imagine if you had less control in The Sims. Like, imagine if you just created a new Sim, picked their personality, and then just never controlled them again. You didn't tell them what to do, you just kind of let them do what they wanted. That's kind of Tomodachi Life. It uses an AI voice for everything that is very clearly like a robot voice. Like, they did not try to make the voice any like more realistic in this one, which I think is for the best. I want the voice to be kind of AI. I want it to be kind of dumb. But it looks just like the Tomodachi Life I remember. It's a great time. The original Tomodachi Life on 3DS is a super charming game. The original never actually came out in America. The Tomodachi Dream Collection was a Japan-only game. But I'm super excited for this new one. The one question I do have is gay marriage allowed? Because if you don't remember, back in 2014, Nintendo actually came under fire for removing gay marriage from the original Tomodachi Life. Or, from the 3DS game. Because there was a bug in the 3DS game that allowed for gay marriage, and Nintendo removed it before release. and they promised that in the future they would be more inclusive. Most of that inclusion has come through Fire Emblem, but I want gay marriage in Tomodachi Life. So Nintendo, you better let me gay marry my Pearl me and my Marina me in Tomodachi Life Living the Dream. I swear to God. You know, I didn't want to talk about this week. I'll be honest, I know I'm usually, you know, I'll tell the president to go fuck off every day of the week. I didn't actually want to talk about that, the Charlie Kirk thing. All I will say is that nobody deserves to die for their political beliefs, for their religion, for the color of their skin, for their nationality, their race, their gender, who they're attracted to. Nobody deserves to be assassinated for what they believe in. And that's all I'm going to say on that. But other than that, I'm a little sick, but everything else is okay. If you know me, you know my thoughts. But that's all I'm going to say for today. I don't want to end up on any lists. With that, let's continue on with the Nintendo Direct. So yeah, Tomodachi Life. I want gay marriage in my Tomodachi Life Living the Dream. You know, do it, Nintendo. You better do it. We will cancel. We will cancel you, Nintendo. Nobody gets canceled unless you're being canceled by Republicans. What am I saying? Jokes and japes aside, I'm very excited for a new Tomodachi Life. It does suck that we didn't get a release date. I was really hoping for like a January or February release date. I desperately want to play a new Tomodachi Life. And I was hoping it was going to be sooner rather than later, but they gave spring, so I don't think we're going to see it in April. April kind of feels like it's going to have the Mario Wonder DLC. It's going to have these new Mario amiibo. It feels like April's already got stuff, so it's either going to be March or May. I'd rather have it in March than May, but I mean, I guess we will see. But either way, I am excited. I am excited for new Tomodachi Life. Next up, Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection. I know some people are excited for this. They talked about how like there's an interactive documentary in the game. That sounds interesting. Yeah, that sounds interesting. It comes out digitally. It comes out October 30th, but physically it comes out December 12th. Oh shit. Next up is Final Fantasy VII Remake. We kind of knew Final Fantasy VII Remake was going to be coming to Switch. It's also been confirmed to be coming to Xbox and PC and all those things. It might already be out on PC. I'm not entirely sure on that one. But it's definitely coming to Xbox. And it looks like it's going to be that it's January 22nd, 2026. Makes sense. I want to say the game originally came out like in January of whatever year it released in. Price-wise, it actually looks like it's $40. It might be there's this whole thing on like the eShop where it's like special like early access or like a early purchase discount. That may be an early purchase discount, but may also just be the base price of the game. I'm not entirely sure about that, but I do think it is interesting. Yeah, so I mean, it being $40 makes me a lot more likely to pick it up, if I'm just being honest. Yeah, and then we do not know, it is both digital and physical, but we do not know if the physical edition is a game key card. We know it is a game key card in Japan, but we do not know if in America it is going to be a game key card. I could totally see it being a game key card, but if it's not, I wouldn't be surprised. But I think it's like a 90% chance it is a game key card. So just, be aware of that. Next up is Linked Banner of the Spark. So this is a game that was already out on Steam. It's, you know, a survival, crafting, farming game. It's a Metroidvania. Okay, I don't think it's a Metroidvania. Might be a roguelite. I don't know. It looks like it's got a lot of hats and a lot of different boxes. I remember seeing this at, I think, Gamescom a few months ago. And yeah, it looks okay. Nothing I'd play personally, but it looks fine. After that, and that's available today, by the way. It's been out on Steam for a while now. Next up, Mega Man Star Force Legacy Collection. So, we got a new Mega Man game reveal, but not in the American Direct. This was only in the Japanese Direct, but as far as I know, this is also coming out in America. Mega Man Star Force. Have you ever played Smash Bros. And you've seen all those different Mega Mans? And there's one that you don't recognize because it's not Battle Network and it's not Mega Man X. That's Mega Man Star Force. What the fuck is a Mega Man Star Force? I have no idea. Legitimately, I could not begin to tell you what Mega Man Star Force is. But hey, you know, we've got Mega Man Legacy Collections for the OG games, for the X games, for the Zero games, for the Battle Network games. It makes sense we're getting the Star Force games. Because all that leaves is Mega Man Legends. Of which there are only 2 of those because the third one got cancelled. Man, I wish we got a new Mega Man game. The last Mega Man game was in, like, 2018, 2019? And Mega Man 11 was good. It was a good game. I liked its new mechanic of where you could either slow down time or do double damage. That was a fun mechanic. And I liked Mega Man 11, and it kind of sucks we never got a Mega Man 12. Like, I was thinking about it. Like, the problem is, Mega Man released 6 games in 6 years on the NES. They kind of burned themselves out, and they come back every once in a while with, like, some fresh new thing. But, you know, if Mega Man had, like, taken more time in between its games, I legitimately think it could be, like, a top-tier franchise up here with, like, Mario and Sonic, where we get a new Mega Man game every, like, year or 2. But nope, instead, they had, you know, to be fair, a great run on the NES, a great run on the SNES, some beloved Battle Network games, and then, yeah, they just really haven't done shit since, like, 2012. I mean, we keep getting Legacy Collections. We got Legacy Collections, and we got Mega Man 11, and that's it. The last, you know, it sucks. It sucks, but I guess that's the way the cookie crumbles. Next up is Hades 2. This was one I was excited for. I loved the original Hades. The original Hades was my game of the year in 2018. So of course I'm excited for Hades 2. I've intentionally avoided the early access. I knew I wasn't going to play it until the Switch version. Or I guess now the Switch 2 version. So I've intentionally avoided it, but they said earlier in the year that, hey, the next update is going to be 1.0. And they said, you know, I think they had hinted that it was coming out this year. Finally, it is coming out this year, version 1.0, and it's coming out on Switch as a console exclusive. Both Switch and Switch 2. So it's not going to be on PlayStation, it's not going to be on Xbox, at least for a little bit, you know, 6 months to a year. It does have it is on PC though, and it does have cross save. So if you have played any of the beta on PC, you can transfer over your save file to the Switch. Which, to be fair, I think the base game also has cross saves, which is cool. But no, that's a fantastic to hear. The game, I was worried it was going to shadow drop. Because right now, I'm still in the middle of Silksong, and so the idea of a Hades shadow dropping today would have been like, where am I going to find the time? Because I still got to do Silksong. It comes out in 2 weeks. So basically what that means is I have 2 weeks to beat Silksong. Totally possible. I think it is totally possible, even though it is like a freaking 60-hour game. And I'm like less than 10 into it. But so that's what I'm gonna, you know, be aiming for here in the coming weeks. Is to, because there's a part of me that I want to do at least another successful run of the OG Hades. Because I don't even think I've touched Hades since 2018. Or since 2020, I mean. So I'd like to at least boot it up, do another successful run for the first time in a while. Because I've only ever had like 2 successful runs. I kind of beat it, had my successful runs, and then, you know, I was like, okay, game of the year, you know? Because I did not have my successful runs until like December. And right before, you know, it came time to make the game of the year list. And God, that was the year I was playing Animal Crossing every day. Yeah, so the game comes out digitally on the 25th, and then physically it comes out November 20th. I'm not going to be waiting for the physical version. I'm going to pick up the digital version, but honestly, the digital version is probably a cool get. It does have an upgrade pass, so if you're buying it on Switch, it has a free upgrade pass that makes the Switch 2 version 1080p, 120 frames per second. It's great to hear, always great. And the game costs $30. Not bad. Honestly, it's what I expected Silksong to cost. It is an amazing year for indie games. Next up, Kirby Air Riders. Specifically, they talked about the amiibo. There are 2 new amiibo, Kirby in the Warp Star, and Bandana Waddle Dee in the Wing Star. And so what makes these amiibos special is that you can switch the rider and the machine they're using. So, like, you know, while the default figure is Kirby in the Warp Star, you can pull off the Kirby figure, attach it to Waddle Dee's Wing Star, and then use it. That's cool. The only other games that I can think that have done something like that is a Starlink Battle for Atlas, that Ubisoft game that nobody remembers. It kind of did something like that, where you could, like, customize different spaceship parts. Yeah, nobody remembers that game, and kind of rightfully so. To be fair, I think I picked it up for like $20 back in like 2018, 2019. I have a copy of it somewheres. But yeah, it's a weird, forgotten game, but it also kind of worked like that. At least I think it did. Admittedly, this is like more advanced technology. I think these are really cool. In the game, the amiibos kind of work like the Smash Bros. Amiibos, where the characters become figure players that learn how to drive by like copying your movements and then become better. You can also level up their like carts as well, so the carts and the characters level up differently. I'd like to hope that normal amiibo also work, because like I have the Kirby, the Meta Knight, the King Dedede, and the Waddle Dee's amiibos from the Kirby line, so I kind of hope those work as well. I hope they did kind of hint that we're going to be getting more of these amiibos. I know the obvious ones are King Dedede on the Wheelie, which sounds awesome, by the way. And then Meta Knight on, like, the Shadow Star. But give me Magolor. Give me a Magolor amiibo. I don't care what he's riding. Give me a Magolor amiibo. That sounds awesome. But we'll just kind of have to wait and see. But they say, yeah, more will be announced in the future. Honestly, it's Nintendo. They're gonna... I don't think they're gonna make... I don't think we're gonna get, like, Waddle Doo or Starman. But I could see us getting a few more of these. I could also see them doing, like, cart packs, like, that just give you new carts, and character packs that just give you new characters. I don't think they're gonna do that, but I could totally see it happening. And then they announced... so for price, this is the thing that kills me. This is the thing that's gonna kill a lot of people. The price for these amiibo, $50 fucking dollars. That is, I think that makes this the most expensive amiibo ever. At what, $10? Probably $10, $15 more expensive than the next most expensive amiibo. That kind of sucks. That's so expensive. But I might still pick up one. I might not. You know, that at that price, plus that's the same day as Kirby Air Riders comes out. I don't know, man. I don't know if you've looked around at Donald Trump's economy It's pretty fucked. And then the last thing is the Sakurai Direct. He will be doing another Kirby Star Allies Direct. I kind of figured he was going to. I love listening to Sakurai talk about his games. I would listen to Sakurai talk about his games any day of the week. Of course, I'm down for this. Whenever he does it, I'll be there. So that's good. Next up, Age of Imprisonment. Another thing that might have an amiibo, by the way. They did say they were going to be making a amiibo for the robot. Not Minerva. I don't remember her name. Minia? It's not Minerva, but it's something like that. You know, the soul spirit sage person. Whatever, you know, we're going to get that at some point. But we finally have a release date for Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment. My bet has been for the past, like, few weeks, I've been saying this game was going to get delayed. You know, Nintendo has a lot of games coming out. It kind of felt like Metroid Prime was coming out in December. And they kept saying, hey, Age of Imprisonment's a winter game. That only... that if Metroid's the December game, that kind of makes it so that way it has to be January or February. I was so certain Hyrule Warriors was going to be January or February. Surprise, surprise, November 9th. November 6th, actually. November 6th is the new Zelda game. That's not even a winter month, Nintendo. Why did you keep saying winter? If you had said holiday, I would be like, yeah, okay, that's in holiday season. It's close enough anyways. But you kept saying winter. What the it kind of feels like they... Because Metroid, they kept saying holiday. At least I think they had said holiday. I don't know, they might have just said 2025. Either way, it's earlier than I expected. I mean, I'm glad it's not next year. I am excited for it. But I'm just... It feels like... Not to look a gift horse in the mouth. But it's earlier than I expected. Next up, they talked Dragon Quest VII Reimagined. So this is a reimagining of Dragon Quest VII. So it's not a remake, but more of like a reimagining, taking the ideas and doing something new. When did Dragon Quest VII come out? It was a PlayStation game. That was then later remade on 3DS. God, I do remember that. But I'm going to assume this game feels a lot different than the 3DS game. Yeah, like when you picture a PlayStation RPG it looks 2D. It's got like 3D backgrounds. Admittedly, the 3DS version looks a little more like what I'd expect. But no, this new one, I think it's got like the human characters look kind of weird. Like they're kind of chibi, but they're also kind of not. It's just kind of weird. But, I mean, I do like Dragon Quest. Not that I've played any game other than 9 and 11. But I do really I have very fond memories of 9. And 11 is very good. But that's a cool get. It comes out February 5th of next year. And it is a game key card. So yeah, just be aware of that. Which is why I think Final Fantasy is going to be a game key card. After that... we got the best announcement of the show. Something that I did not expect, but is such a weird Nintendo decision. I can't help but love it. So they revealed Virtual Boy will be coming to Nintendo Switch Online. If you don't know, back in 1995, between the Game Boy and the Game Boy Color, Nintendo tried to make a new system. Something that was a little different. Think of it kind of like how the DS is an evolution of the Game Boy. Before the DS was an evolution of the Game Boy, they tried to create the Virtual Boy as an evolution of the Game Boy. The Virtual Boy used basically a two-screen system to imitate 3D. So it was trying to be a 3D system. It was in a VR headset, but instead of like giving it like a strap, so that way you could like modern VR headsets where you can like strap it to your head, It instead comes on a kickstand. If you've never used a Virtual Boy, they are awful to use. The way your like head fits into the kickstand is just really awkward. It's really bad on the neck. And then the colors, for some reason, even though the Game Boy used like a black, white, and green color scheme, the Virtual Boy used a black and red color scheme. And you know, it's infamous for making people dizzy and nauseous. It's just all around, it was a bad idea of a system. Nintendo themselves have admitted the Virtual Boy was a mistake. And over the years, it did kind of become a meme, specifically in things like Tomodachi Life. There was a running joke in Tomodachi Life for years. That was all hail the Virtual Boy. The Virtual Boy is not a good system, right? Nintendo themselves will admit that. But I fully, wholeheartedly believe, like anything else, the Virtual Boy deserves to be preserved. It deserves to be remembered. It should not just be lost to the annals of time. I know you can emulate anything, but I believe it does not deserve to be forgotten. And so the idea of Nintendo releasing all the Virtual Boy games on Virtual Console / Nintendo Classics is a fantastic idea, especially because there are not that many of them. There are only like 14 Virtual Boy games. There are not that many. If you ever want a complete like Virtual Boy video, I actually recommend the Angry Video Game Nerd. I want to say he covered the entire system in literally every game on the console because there aren't that many. And so yes, I believe this is an important thing for Nintendo to do. I kind of feel the same way about like Nintendo doing like Game & Watch. Like if they released Game & Watch on Nintendo Switch Online, I would also support that. Because a lot of those Game & Watch games, like some of them have been preserved over the years, specifically in collections on the Game Boy Advanced, and DS. But a lot of those games have also kind of, never gotten a re-release, never gotten, anything. And I feel like if Nintendo put Game & Watch games on Nintendo Classic, that would be a great idea. Just for preservation's sake. Especially if they like created a special system that just allows you to remake, that just remakes all of them. I would honestly, even if they put out like a $20 eShop game that had every Virtual Boy game that wasn't like a tie-in, I would honestly probably pay money for that. Like legitimately. I would about like $20. I feel like any more than that's not worth it. But yeah, no, the Virtual Boy is a very interesting piece of Nintendo technology, and it's coming back. And not only are you going to be able to play Virtual Boy games, but they're selling a peripheral that you put your Switch or your Switch 2, it works with both, you put the system into this peripheral, and it turns it into a Virtual Boy style screen. So there's one that looks exactly like the old Virtual Boy. And then there's a new one, which is just Nintendo Labo, right? If you had Nintendo Labo, it also works with that. Presumably, not for Switch 2, obviously, but they're selling a new Nintendo Labo version, and you'll be able to play it. They say you need it to play these games. I do not know if that is entirely true. I really hope that there's two things I want from this Virtual Boy. One, I want you to be able to change the color. Because that red and black is awful. Just change it to like red and green, red and blue, red and gray. I don't really care what they change it to, but they have to let you change it to something. Because that red, because you can change Game Boy colors. Let us change Virtual Boy colors. Just please, Nintendo. And then the other thing is, let me play them without the headset. We can clearly see video footage that doesn't use the headset. You can do it without the headset. Sure, it doesn't have the 3D effect, which is also another thing. Like, you had a console called the 3DS. You could have just put Virtual Boy games on the 3DS. Sure, the 3D effect wouldn't work perfectly, but I'm sure it would have worked fine. But yeah, so far they're saying you need one of these headsets to play it. We'll see. I'd like to hope. I'm trying to be a little bit more generous, but we'll see. The prices. So when I first heard they're doing the headset, my thought was, it's going to be about $100. Because I want to say the GameCube controller was like 60. So an actual like Virtual Boy is going to be about 100. Sure enough, right on the money. It's $100. If you want the Labo version, that's the cardboard, 25. I honestly think 25 is pretty reasonable. There's a lot of fucked up Nintendo financial stuff, expensive amiibos. The Virtual Boy at 99 is kind of expensive. 25 for the cardboard, I don't think is actually that bad, especially because it works for both Switch and Switch 2. So no, I think this is a fantastic decision. I've seen some people say this is bad. Someone, and I can't remember who, said this is the Nintendo equivalent of them re-releasing Morbius into theaters. And I'll be honest, that's not entirely wrong, because again, Nintendo themselves admit the Virtual Boy was a mistake. But I believe this deserves to exist. I think this is a really weird idea that comes after years and years of Virtual Boy jokes. And yeah, will I play this for more than a day? No. This is like, hey, check it out for one day, potentially have fun with it, if there's fun to even be had in the Virtual Boy, and then completely forget about it. But for that day, especially because it's part of Nintendo Switch Online, so I'm potentially not paying any money for it. At most, I'm paying $25, which is definitely a waste of $25. But you know what? It's a neat piece of history. It's like owning an actual Virtual Boy. Like, you don't buy a Virtual Boy to play it. You buy it because it's a neat piece of Nintendo history. Same thing with like a Game Boy Micro. So yeah, I think that's fantastic. Next up, Fatal Frame 2 is getting a remake, coming out early next year. You know, Nintendo keeps trying to make Fatal Frame a thing. I know Fatal Frame fans are happy they haven't been given up on, unlike, you know, us Chibi Robo fans. But, we'll see. You know, I want the best for Fatal Frame fans. Sure, am I not going to make a deal with you like I did the Rhythm Heaven fans? No, I'm not. But, you know, we'll see. One Piece, we got 3 Warriors games in this Direct. Zelda Warriors, One Piece Warriors, and Dynasty Warriors. The One Piece Warriors, just, you know, more enemies on screen, on the Switch 2 upgrade. We got Overcooked 2 is getting a Switch 2 edition. It allows for camera play, so, you know, you can see each other's faces while you're running around. That's kind of neat, I guess. And then it also allows for game share. Okay, cool. Stardew Valley is getting a Switch 2 edition, which it definitely didn't need, but it's cool that it's getting it, and it adds mouse controls. So if you want to, you know, if you don't want to play Stardew on PC, but you still want those mouse controls, hey, it's on the Switch 2 edition. It has 4-player local co-op, so you can play with 4 friends on one system. I think it has game share. I think they said it has game share. I might be wrong about that one. And that comes out later this year in fall. They talked about Human Fall Flat. It's getting a Switch 2 edition. Adds 5 new levels. You know, Human Fall Flat's a fun game. Again, I think back to Michael and Gavin over at Achievement Hunter playing it. God, they waste so much time in that game. It's a lot of fun. But yeah, no, that's one I should get my parents to play. I should keep an eye out for that to go on sale. And maybe I'll pick up the OG Switch version. If it works. I don't know. I don't know how well the Switch version works, so I'll have to look that up. Next up is Power Wash Sim. I don't think this game has released yet. Maybe it might be in early access. Comes out in fall of this year. You know, it's Power Wash Sim. It's a good game that I have my issues with because I kind of feel like I'm wasting time playing it, but it's still a decent game. Suicune game, you know, the one about stacking fruit, it's getting a sequel, which it has Mario Galaxy style gravity, where instead of, you know, you having to drop all the fruit to the bottom, you're instead dealing with fruit on a sphere. And that's really weird, but also kind of interesting. I don't know. It's got, there's a Switch and a Switch 2 version. It's got Game Share, and it comes out sometime this winter. I'm actually kind of down. I think that's neat. Next up is Metroid Prime 4. The big thing they revealed, Samus has a motorcycle. Admittedly, is she driving around what looks like a very barren desert world? Yes. But I still think giving Samus a motorcycle is a cool idea. The motorcycle is named Viola? V-I-O-L-A. Viola. Which is a... I mean, I know Viola's an instrument, but it's also a Shakespeare reference. Because, to be fair, we had an Animal Crossing, one of our hermit crabs was named Viola. I think the other one was Orsino. That sounds right in my head. So that's cool. We got the release date, December 4th. Exactly. I was predicting either the 4th or the 11th. I was right. And then we're getting Amiibo. For some reason, half the Amiibo come out in November. And then the other half come out in... the last one comes out in December. And what's happening we know it's coming out November 6th, which is the same day as Hyrule Warriors. So I wonder maybe if the Miniwa's Amiibo is also coming out on that day. Might be possible, or maybe, the Miniwa is coming out in December. Either way, I could see it. It's just kind of weird that it's coming out early. It makes me wonder if we might be getting a demo for Prime 4. I could see that. I could totally see that coming out around that time. There's a Samus Amiibo, costs $30. The Viola Amiibo, which is her on the motorcycle, costs $40. And then there's a Silux, who seems to be the main antagonist. And that comes out December 4th, and that's $30. Next up, Donkey Kong Bonanza is getting DLC. DLC came out today. I've seen a lot of people shit on this DLC that, saying this is clearly just cut content that they're only releasing now after the game. I feel people are very mad at Nintendo. That totally might be true, but I'm not 100% sure on that. That's assuming the worst possible case. I don't want to go that far yet. But no, I think, that we can now go to DK Island, which is cool. We can see DK Island, see how it's changed over the years. And there's a new mode called Emerald Rush. Every Minecraft villager's dream. Where you're going around, you're working for Void Co. They're potentially giving Void Kong an epilogue. Because if you've played more... Spoiler alert for Donkey Kong Bonanza. But 95% of the way through the game, he gets replaced as the final boss. So I like the idea of him coming back and kind of getting either a redemption or his own boss fight or just something else. And this whole Void Kong mode, the Emerald Rush, it's a roguelite. You collect emeralds and you collect fossils which give you random upgrades. You can get Banandium gems to get random upgrades, and basically your goal is to collect a bunch of stuff within the time limit. And you get different abilities based on, random luck. It's a roguelite. It's admittedly not the most advanced roguelite. There are some things where it's the fossils and banana locations never change. But other than that, I do think it is a good idea. I do definitely think there is a good idea here somewheres. So yeah, I do want to try this DLC out. I have not today, other things. But I think it's cool. It's $20. That is a little expensive. But I'm still excited. I like Donkey Kong Bonanza. I'm excited to play more of it. Next up, we got Pokemon. So for years now, I have wanted Pokemon Stardew Valley. I think the idea of... And to be fair, that's Ooblets. If you've never played the game Ooblets, it's great. It's on Switch. Runs pretty well. But I've always wanted Pokemon, but Stardew Valley. Where, instead of, maybe also kind of Pokemon, Factorio / Satisfactory. I know that's kind of what Pal World was. A little different, though. But I like the idea of, you having a farm. But instead of, buying sprinklers, you catch water Pokemon. Instead of, getting, harvesting machines, you catch grass Pokemon. Instead of like buying a hoe, you get like Diggersby or Drillbur, you know, Pokemon like that. The Pokemon Company is finally making Pokemon not Harvest Moon. I'd compare it to Dragon Quest Builders, Timberborn, and the game we talked about earlier, Dinkum. That's probably the best comparison. The game is weird. You start off by playing as a Ditto, and the Ditto, like, changes itself to look like a human. That's kind of weird when you think about it. Like, you're a human Ditto who can copy Pokemon moves. That's kind of weird. The art style, you know, I'll be honest, I don't think it looks amazing. Again, it reminds me a lot of, like, Dinkum or Dragon Quest Builders. It's got an art style, and the art style isn't exactly pretty. But it is a survival crafting game, and you know, you're building up a town, building up a village, and as you do, you're collecting new and different Pokemon for your village. I think that's cool. I think there's a good idea here. I am excited for it. Like, genuinely, I think this is gonna work. I do. But we'll just kind of have to wait and see. It comes out next year sometime. Yeah, this is definitely like the Virtual Boy thing is wild. I think this one's weird. But I love it. I love the idea. I'm genuinely excited for this. This game is totally up my alley. I don't know how cozy of a game it's going to be, but I do think it is interesting. All right. Next, and it's called Pokemon Pokopia. Did I say that? Pokopia, Pokopia. It's got a weird name. Pokemon Pokopia. Like Paya. What would the Paya root be? Paya, like Tropica? No, that doesn't sound right. I don't know. It's interesting. It's an interesting game. Next up, they talked about Legends EA. We got 3 new Mega Evolutions. Mega Chestnut, Mega Greninja, and Mega Delphox. I've said before, I'm a huge Delphox fan. Mega Delphox's whole gimmick is that it's a witch, and so the Mega Evolution gives it a broom. It's got a witch's broom, and it's got a bunch of little smaller brooms following it around. I think it's cool. Mega Chestnut leaves more into like the knight aesthetic. It's got like a cape, it's got like a cloak, it's got 2 shields on its shoulders. It seems to have like a spear of some kind. It honestly kind of reminds me of the guy from Three Houses, the blue guy. It kind of reminds me of like the time skip version of him. I actually think it's probably better than normal Chestnut's design. And then finally, Mega Greninja has a giant water shuriken, and he rides on it, but he rides upside down. I think it's neat. I don't know, I'm not a huge Greninja guy, but I think it's neat. So those are all cool. There is an asterisk though, as we learned. You do not get these Pokemon by normally playing the game. So if you play Legends EA, you will not get these. Instead, they can only be earned as rewards for competing in online battles. They're going to be when the game comes out, they're going to be doing 3 seasons of online battles. And if you compete in these seasons, you will get these Mega Stones. I think that's dumb. I think that sucks, especially putting them in byline like timed exclusivity. I do not like that. That sucks. Again, another bad thing the Pokemon Company is doing. This is why I hate Mythicals so much, because Mythicals suck for the exact same reason. But it's what they're doing. Another thing we found out from, I took this from Sarah B, is that in Pokemon Legends EA, Pokemon sent to Legends EA will be unable to be used in prior Pokemon games. So like currently, if I have a Pokemon from Pokemon Sword, I transfer it to Pokemon Home, move it into Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, and then I transfer it back into Home, I'm able to move it back into Sword and Shield. But I guess because of something they did in Scarlet and Violet, you will not be able to do that. Once you move a Pokemon over to Legends EA, you will not be able to move it back to prior games. I think that sucked. Wasn't the whole point of Pokemon Home to stop that from happening? To make sure that we don't have to worry about that anymore? What the fuck is this? I think this is kind of dumb. I do not like this. So no, I'm against that, but it's the Pokemon Company. They, you know, they have a monopoly. They have the copyright. They're going to do whatever the fuck they want. And then after that, they announced Mega Dimensions. This is a DLC for Legends ZA. I've seen a lot of people angry at this. That, hey, Pokemon is already announcing DLC for a game that hasn't released. Do I have to remind you that this isn't the first time this has happened? People are acting like, oh, this is just the next big scummy Nintendo business practice. Nintendo has done this the entire Switch's lifespan. They've announced DLCs before games released. I'll give you 4 examples. Breath of the Wild. They announced the Breath of the Wild Champions Ballad DLC like a week or 2 before the game came out. Yeah, one of the best reviewed games of all time. They announced DLC before its release. Xenoblade. Xenoblade Chronicles 2, Torna was announced before it released, and then Xenoblade Chronicles 3. The DLC was also announced before its release. So yeah, 2 Nintendo games that both had DLC, you know, both Xenoblade games, and people love those games. Mostly they love 3, but 2 has its fans. And then finally, Smash Bros. Ultimate. Smash Bros. Ultimate, both Piranha Plant, was announced before the game's release date, and Joker was announced the day the game came out. So this isn't something new. I just want to be clear. Does it make it less scummy? I don't know. It helps that the DLC isn't coming out the day the game releases. This isn't like on-disc DLC. Basically, the DLC is going to have 2 parts. It's going to have a holo apparel that you can get the day the game releases. Kind of like the Nintendo Switch shirt in Breath of the Wild. Right? It's just cosmetic. And then it's going to have additional story content. What that story content is, we don't know. But it's going to have something to do with the Pokemon Hoopa, and they're going to be creating portals to hyperspace, according to the website. What that means, we don't entirely know. But we got 2 new Mega reveals, 2 of which hadn't been leaked as far as I'm aware. If these had been in leaks, I had never seen them. We got Mega Raichu X and Mega Raichu Y. Mega Raichu X has 2 tails, and Mega Raichu Y has 2 giant ears, and like a long tail, so it looks like an X and a Y. You know, kind of like Xerneas and Yveltal. I honestly like both of these designs. My only problem, I like X's design more, but I like Y's colors. Y's colors is like a very nice orange, whereas X's is like a weird yellow, but I like the 2 tails on X more than I like the long tail and the 4 ears on Y. That's kind of weird. Like, I think Y looks more like Pikachu, if I'm being honest. But I actually like both of these designs. I think they're cool. And yeah, you know, it's Pokemon. I was going to pick up the DLC regardless. Could they have waited another month for this? Yeah, probably. But you know, they knew everyone would be watching the Nintendo Direct anyways. Oh god, we still have more. Oh my gosh, we're still going. Danganronpa 2 is getting re-released. It's got the main game of the original, but they also have a new story, which has like different victims and potentially different killers. Okay, that sounds interesting. I will never play a Danganronpa game again, but okay. Dynasty Warriors Origins. Yeah, outside of the Zelda, Dynasty Warriors haven't actually been that good. Monster Hunter Stories 3. Oh, Dynasty Warriors has a January 22nd release date. Monster Hunter Stories 3 has a March 13th release date. We got a highlight reel, 2-Point Museum, which I've heard good things about. Lego Voyagers, which comes out like next week. Looks awesome. And yeah. And finally, we got Resident Evil Requiem. We got a new trailer for that. I thought we had already had the release date, but it's got a February 27th release date. And then on that same day, Biohazard and Village are also coming out. So if you've never played any of the Resident Evil, the modern trilogy, this is your chance. And then our final announcement, our one more thing, Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave. new Fire Emblem game, takes place in the Three Houses timeline, because we see Sothis. Admittedly, I could not remember their name this morning, but yeah, it's Sothis. The whole plot of the game, at least from what we've seen right now, is that it takes place in this kingdom that's having the heroic games, which is like a gladiator tournament, and you're playing in the tournament, you're participating, you have all these different factions that each have their own wants and desires. And yeah, it's just gonna play out from that. I'm not a big Fire Emblem fan, I never really have been, but I'm sure people who like Fire Emblem are excited. I know Three Houses fans are huge, so good for them. And yeah, that's the Direct. I think this morning I gave it a 9. When I said 9, I would say it's a soft 9. Like, if it was like on a scale from 100, it'd be like a 90, 91. It's like a soft 9. I still there's a lot of things I'm excited about. I do have my we literally just talked about this for almost 2 hours. I do have my problems. But I still am, there's a lot of things I'm excited for. A lot of good Mario games, a lot of good Pokemon stuff, a lot of good first-party stuff. Yes, is Nintendo still a bunch of greedy bastards? Definitely. But I'm still excited for a lot of things. Overall, yeah, I'd give it like a 9. I think that's a very, I think that's a good score. Maybe I could be convinced to go down to like an 8. It might be an 8, but no, I don't think it's that bad. Alright, I gotta go get some water. My throat is killing me. I know I said we were only gonna do 2 worlds today. I think we're gonna do another world. I might, reboot some things real quick and whatnot. Because I don't know if you've been seeing the visual issues on stream. I've been having some visual issues, so I might, I'm gonna unhook things real quick on the Wii and hopefully fix things. So I'm gonna, it might take me a minute. But yeah, I need to go get some water. Oh my gosh, I probably need to pee as well. So yeah, if you'll let me just find a good place to stand. Hey, Cloudflower. Oh yeah, because now that we have the Cloudflower, we've got like a bunch of one of the things about Galaxy 2 is it gives you more access to 1-ups as you go along. Like, now we can go over here and get a 1-up. We can go to that floating island and get a 1-up. Of course, admittedly, I'm gonna reboot the system, so I'm gonna have to turn it off and we're gonna lose all 30 of these, but it still exists. Alright, let me hit that. Alright, let me go get some water. I'll be right back, and then we will continue on. Ugh. Oh, I didn't have the mic on. All right, we're back. I rebooted the system. I don't know if you guys were seeing, but I was like I'm having like a weird fuzzy glitch where it's like there's like a line in the screen and sometimes it's there, sometimes it's not. God, I hope I didn't make it worse. You never tell with these things. But yeah, we're gonna do, I guess, maybe the end of this world. You know, we'll see. Well, I don't know. I might have like another hour in me. Yeah, I don't know. I thought about booting up Silksong for a second there. And I was like, what if we just run around in that for a little bit? And I remembered, like, oh, wait, I'm still in the desert, aren't I? That may not be good. But definitely I thought about it. So that was, you know, we talked about the Nintendo Direct. I guess let's talk about, so we know what was there. What about what's not there? Because I think certain things, like a Mario sports game, like a lot of people wanted a baseball, or, you know, hockey, or hoops. And because we got a sports game, it may not have been the one we wanted, but it's still a sports game. So I would still count that. So I don't think that counts. I also don't think, I know a lot of people wanted a 3D Mario. I know people wanted a Zelda. We got Age of Imprisonment. I'm so unlucky. We got Age of Imprisonment. We got, you know, Donkey Kong Bonanza DLC. Because Donkey Kong Bonanza is made by, you know, the team that made this game. So I think those count. I wouldn't expect a new 3D Mario for a while, plus we did get Galaxy 2. So, I don't know, I'm gonna count it. I'm gonna count those as, like, those aren't misses either. But there are a few things that I expected to be here that just weren't. So the first big one is Mario Kart World DLC. I'm gonna be honest, it kind of feels like we're in Insomniac limbo, where, like, we all hope there's gonna be DLC. You know, the previous game had a bunch of DLC. But we don't actually know if this new one's gonna have DLC. Like, it'd be really fucking stupid if Mario Kart World didn't have DLC. Like, I feel like that's just so much wasted potential. But even if they just started off with, like, adding new characters, I would figure we would have gotten something by this point. So the fact that we haven't gotten anything yet, the fact that we got stuff for Bonanza, which is a game that came out after, makes me a little worried. I mean, they could pull an Animal Crossing, and you know, Animal Crossing didn't get its big major DLC until, like, what, over a year after its release? They could do that, you know, we might have to wait until June of next year. But I would hope, but unlike an Animal Crossing, you had, like, the smaller updates. You know, you had the museum update. I would hope we would at least get some of that. Like, I feel like adding characters like Young Pauline in Bonanza Donkey Kong are such, like, obvious character additions that I'm really surprised we didn't get them. And yeah, that we got no, you know, getting King K. Rool would have been a big deal as well. And the fact that we got none of that, I'm now worried. Honestly, like, yes, it's still totally possible we get stuff. But knowing Nintendo the way I know Nintendo, it is also totally possible they pull a Mario Odyssey and we just get fucking nothing. Because I know some people have gone and been like, oh, I believe the game is, you know, it released unfinished, blah, blah, blah. I definitely would not go that far. Just because you're not happy with the amount of content in the game doesn't mean that the game was unfinished. But yeah, it just kind of surprises me. Admittedly, I am now kind of, if they're going to take longer on the DLC, the longer they take, the more likely it's going to be paid. Which, I mean, we're already paying $80 for the fucking game. That better include, like, the season pass, the DLC pass. Because Nintendo's done that in the past. they've charged more for a game and then included the season pass in that, you know, additional fee. I can't think of a specific example off the top of my... I guess Splatoon's my example. And of course later on those games did get DLC, so I guess fuck me. But you get my point. It'd be, if we get nothing from Mario Kart World, that's gonna be so weird. Especially because it looks like we might get more from Kirby. But, so that's the first thing that I just think is weird that it wasn't there. The next thing is Rhythm Heaven. I mean, Rhythm Heaven is not going to be a huge thing. Nintendo, if they're playing it smart, which I think they are, Rhythm Heaven is a middle shelf game. It's a game made on a cheaper budget with less results. You know, Nintendo doesn't expect to sell as many copies of Rhythm Heaven as they would, God, even like Metroid Prime 4. Because that's expected to sell a few million, hopefully. Hopefully it hits, like, you know, the 3 million mark that Dread did. Whereas I'd be amazed if Rhythm Heaven broke 1 million. It's totally possible. I mean, YouTube is a strong influence. If you get the right people, which, to be fair, there are a lot of YouTubers who do love Rhythm Heaven. You know, be that like a Jaden Animations or a Ludwig or third example here. You know, CJ Yaw, of course. I do think it is totally possible that this Rhythm Heaven is going to be the best-selling one in the series. Almost guaranteed it's going to be the best-selling one. But I don't know. What is the best-selling Rhythm Heaven game? Oh, gosh. I could Google it. If I had to guess, it's either going to be the 3DS or the Wii one. The best-selling Rhythm Heaven game is the first game in the series which sold 3 million copies? Holy shit. Mega Mix sold over 1 million. Fever... Wait, what's the next one? I thought the next one was Fever. Wait, what? Wait, is this... Oh, it's called... I have it in my notes as Fever. It's called Groove, isn't it? I have the wrong name in my notes. Oh, shit. Yeah, it's called Rhythm Heaven Groove. So, yeah, Fever sold 84. The Game Boy Advance Japanese one sold 80. I had no idea DS sold 3 million. Okay, maybe it's gonna do better than I think. Either way, it very much feels like a middle shelf game, if I'm just being honest. And if it hits those middle shelf sales figures, they could reveal it at any point. But I'd at least expect something, like, I could see it in, like, a sizzle reel. Because I expected in spring. I'd be amazed if it wasn't in spring. I guess it could also take up, like, one of those weird dates, like, you know, January. Because I don't think we have anything for January at the moment. We've got February, but I don't think we have anything for January. I don't think. But no, I'm surprised Rhythm Heaven wasn't here. In some, kind of like Tomodachi Life, where you get like a minute or two of it, and then not much else. I at least expected that. It's not going to be April. I mean, gosh. I mean, it's probably not going to be April. You never know. The other thing I'm surprised wasn't here, Splatoon Raiders. You know, that game was randomly announced in September. Allegedly, it was already rated by the ESRB. So that kind of made it seem like it, because like it was rated by the ESRB before Metroid was. Allegedly. So that kind of made it feel like, no, that game is closer to release than we thought. And I could have totally seen, like honestly, depending on how big the game is. If it's like a smaller, like, eShop only game, I could see Splatoon Raiders shadow dropping. But if it's a bigger game, they're obviously going to charge more for it. And they're going to get a physical release. But I was fully expecting to see it here, because we still don't know much about, like, we don't even know what type of game it is. Like, it might be a survival game, we think it's a survival game, but we actually don't know. And it would have been nice to see something. And we just didn't. So that was kind of weird. I don't know. You know me, I'm a Splatoon fan, so I'm always hopeful. They might have just announced Splatoon Raiders just to make people not ask for Splatoon 4. Like, that legitimately might have been it. They were just like, hey, we're doing this, so don't ask for Splatoon 4, because it's not going to come for years. And then the one third-party thing I'm surprised wasn't here. Marvel Cosmic Invasion. So if you don't know, Marvel Cosmic Invasion is a beat-em-up game made by the guys who did the TMNT Shredder's Revenge. I think it was Shredder's Revenge a few years ago. Really good game from what I've heard. Haven't played it, but I've heard it's fantastic. So I know people are really excited for Marvel Cosmic Invasion. I'm actually kind of interested in Cosmic Invasion. So I was fully expecting to see it here today. And the fact that it wasn't, you know, didn't get an official reveal and a release date kind of surprises me. Because fuck, I'm not doing that. The developers of Cosmic Invasion keep saying it's coming out this year. And I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt. You know, they've literally tripled down and said it's coming this year. I feel like this Nintendo Direct, you know, it wasn't at the Indie World, which I think it was originally revealed at an Indie World. I was expecting it to be here. Maybe even if it was just in like the sizzle reel at the end. Admittedly, I would like, you know, I would expect them to show off like 2 more characters and then just give us a release date. But instead, yeah, we got nothing. So I'm surprised. I'm not chomping at the bit like Greg Miller is for this. But I am mainly because of Greg Miller, I am actually interested in this one. And yeah, I was just kind of surprised to not see it here. And then I think that's it. I think that's the last major one. Because I'd say like, oh, well, you know, I want a Star Fox. I want, you know, a new Chibi Robo. I want a new Pikmin. I think asking for any of those, like, that's not, like, you want stuff that has, like, substance to it. Like, admittedly, Pikmin could have gotten an expansion pass. I totally think it's possible for Pikmin to get, like, an expansion pass, to get, you know, the Pikmin 2 remake in Pikmin 4. Kind of like they remade Pikmin 1 in Pikmin 4. I think that's totally possible, or, you know, a roguelite mode, more likely. But no, that didn't happen, and I think that's fine. Honestly, there are some franchises like Pikmin and Animal Crossing where I'd much rather just wait for a next one. I want whatever the new Animal Crossing is. I want Pikmin 5. You know, I will not be satisfied until we have Pikmin 18 billion and 11. And we're you know, we're 18 billion and what? 7 short, so we've still got a ways to go. Yeah, I try not to hold like stuff that wasn't there against the Direct. I just think it's, again, the only, like, the other things I could see not being there. The only one I find weird is Mario Kart. Mario Kart feels like such an obvious one. Oh, I'm amazed we got that. Mario Kart DLC just feels so obvious. It really does. And it really surprises me that we got nothing. So yeah, those are my not in the Directs. So I guess that takes us to WIBE. We got a movie, a game, Taco Bell, and then any other bullshit I think of. You know, we'll see where we are at in the world by that point. Oh, there's one level I'm worried about, which is the Fluzzard one. I'm pretty sure there's a Fluzzard one somewhere around here. Because this, honestly, I remember this world really well. Or at least I remember this world's, like, theme, where, you know, it gives you, like, a branching path, and you got 6 different directions to go. And I swear one of these is Fluzzard. Is there also a tree one? No, maybe it's, like, a desert one. The Fluzzard one might be the desert one, honestly. So, yeah. So, WIBE, I guess let's start with Taco Bell. So, Taco Bell, you know, they're always doing their weird fancy gimmicks, and this one is their Decades menu. Or, they previously did a Decades menu, where it was like, okay, we're covering different decades of Taco Bell, and we're gonna bring back one item from each decade. A fun idea, you know, bringing back some classics. So they're doing Decades menu again, but this time specifically for the 2000s. It's, you know, back to the 2000s, back to the aughts. And so they brought back, what? It's 4 different things, maybe 5 or 6, depending on how you look at it. I've tried all of them, and so let's talk about it, shall we? The first one is they brought back the Doritos Cool Ranch Taco. I know some people actually prefer the Cool Ranch one over the cheese one. I am not one of those people. I think the nacho cheese is better. And I'll be honest, having the Cool Ranch, I kind of barely noticed the Cool Ranch. I do not think it was a strong flavor at all. I didn't hate it by any means. No, there are some things on this menu that I think are worse than this. But I get why people like the Cool Ranch Doritos Locos Taco. I do. It's just not really my thing. I also will say for all these items, I didn't do like the Supreme version. I just did the standard. You know, I'm not made of money. The next one is the Double Decker Taco. This is, you know, it's a crunchy taco with a soft taco that they basically coat a soft taco in bean and refried brains, and then put it around just like a crunchy taco. It's not a bad idea at all, actually. It's kind of one of those things where it's like, I feel like at any time you could just put this back on the menu, because it doesn't feel like it's that hard to make. I don't think it uses like a special sauce or anything. But yeah, it was fine. Honestly, I feel like the beans were a little bit understated, but that's kind of what I want. Like, the beans are more of like a binding agent to keep the 2 tacos together. Unlike, say, like a Gordita Crunch, which has like a sauce, and I think the sauce does not do that great of a job. We'll talk about the Gordita Crunch. But yeah, I thought the Double Decker Taco was fine. Probably, honestly, it might be the best thing out of all of these. Just being honest. I don't know, it's either that or the Cool Ranch. Next up is the Chili Cheese Burrito. So if you live in certain parts of the country, I think specifically the Midwest, this item actually never went away. This is one of those items that you can only get in certain regions, but they still have it year round. I had no idea. I don't actually ever remember getting the chili cheese burrito. When I think chili cheese burrito, there's a restaurant down here called Wiener Schnitzel, which is, McDonald's but with hot dogs. They're not actually that great, if I'm being completely honest, but they do chili cheese fries that I like. And they have a item called a chili cheese fry burrito, where they take some of their chili cheese fries and they wrap them in a tortilla. Very simple concept. Probably is ripping off this Taco Bell menu item. And if I'm being honest, I like the chili cheese fry burrito at Wiener Schnitzel. It's one of their better items, and having the Taco Bell chili cheese burrito kind of tasted exactly the same. Like, there's less potato, like, there's potato in the Wiener Schnitzel one, whereas this one doesn't have that. But other than that, it's basically the same idea. It's not bad. It's not bad. It's not my favorite. Admittedly, like, I wouldn't go out of my way. Like the Wiener Schnitzel one, I've gotten more. I probably wouldn't go out of my way to get this one, but it wasn't terrible by any means. Next up is the 7-layer burrito. So this is a vegan burrito. I have nothing against vegans. I actually think Taco Bell has one of the better vegan menus, I will say. Specifically, I love a black bean chalupa. I've only gotten it like once or twice, mostly on accident, but I don't actually hate it. I do not hate the black bean chalupa. It might be it's not vegan, it's vegetarian potentially, because I think there might be cheese on some of these things. But no, Taco Bell does not have a like, compared to some other places, I think Taco Bell is actually better at giving you options when it comes to doing vegan stuff. So the 7-layer burrito, it's a vegan burrito. It's got beans. Let me just read it off. It's got beans, seasoned rice, reduced fat sour cream, lettuce, tomatoes, guacamole, and a 3-cheese blend. So it's vegetarian, not vegan, I think. Yeah, that sounds right. I don't know, I'll be honest, it was fine. Like, when I got a good, like, the best part of this burrito was when it tasted like a cheesy bean and rice burrito. When you got like, oh, it's like a cheesy bean and rice burrito, but it's got lettuce and tomato. I was like, yeah, this is good. Because I don't mind the cheesy bean and rice burrito, which is also vegetarian. But when it was like, when you had like all the elements, you know, especially their guacamole, I don't know if I really like Taco Bell's guacamole. It's no Chipotle guacamole. I'll say that. I actually forgot the boot cap was in this game. But no, it was fine. I wasn't blown away by it, but I'd probably get a cheesy bean and rice burrito over it. I think that's better. And then, of course, there was 2 other things. So those were the main things. But they had 2 other... They had the caramel apple empanada. I know we talked about the caramel apple empanada last week. I like the caramel apple empanada. It's very heavy on the caramel aspect. And it's not going to be everyone's cup of tea, especially if you're used to, like, the McDonald's or the Whataburger versions, like the apple pies. But I think it's fine. It's got its moments. And then the other one is you can get a cheesy gordita crunch with a Doritos Locos Taco. And I was like, you know what? Fuck it. Let's try that. When it comes to the battle between cheesy gordita... Oh. When it comes to the battle between cheesy gordita crunch and chalupa, I'm team chalupa. All the way. I think a Taco Bell chalupa can be fantastic. A cheesy gordita crunch, it's okay. If you don't know, it's like a taco, but like it's got like a sauce and like a pita bread or like a naan bread, I guess. It's okay. I'm not really blown away by it, if I'm being honest. And I feel like getting a Doritos Locos Taco instead of a crunchy taco did not change it too much. Like, I did not feel like it was a revolutionary thing by any means. So, overall, yeah, I was not too impressed with that. But, you know, it kind of had the expectations going against it from the start. I say. And then the final thing is I tried Baja Midnight again. You know, last time we talked about Baja Midnight, I kind of mentioned that it tasted like cough syrup, and I did not care for it, like, at all, because, again, it kind of tasted like cough syrup. But that was the day it came out. Trying it again, it tasted better this time. I feel like the passion fruit flavor was less medicine-y, and, you know, it had more of that, like, Baja flavor in it. I liked it. I still don't like it as much as like normal Baja Blast or the GOAT Baja Punch. I probably like the Sweet Lightning more still. But no, it's not bad. I had a bad batch the first time. I went to a different Taco Bell this time. But no, it was better this time. Overall, I liked it more. Yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna go out of my... The only reason I'd go out of my way, or the only reason I'd get Baja Midnight over Baja Blast is that you can only get Baja Midnight at Taco Bell. I can find Baja Blast at any Walmart up and down the aisle. I know some people will say that the fountain is better than the can, and they usually are correct. But I'll be honest, Baja Blast is one of the few things I don't care. I think it's good either way. Unlike, say, like a Coke. I think a canned Coke sucks. But fountain Coke can be okay. Not that I can't even remember the last time I had a Coke. Or, nah, I guess the last time I had a Coke was like a Roy Rogers. I don't really do, like, straight up Coke. And I don't mean, when I say Roy Rogers, I don't mean cherry Coke. I don't fuck with cherry Coke either. So yeah, that was the Taco Bell Decades menu. It was fine, like, it was fine. I'm sure, you know, if you have nostalgia for some of these items, especially the Doritos Locos Taco, it's gonna work for you. But for me, it wasn't anything that special. Again, my white whale is always the volcano sauce. I got that a few years ago. It was fantastic when they had it. Any day now, you know, I would love for it to become like the McRib, where it comes back once a year. But I know Taco Bell's working on a lot of different shit all the time. Again, they're the only fast food company I know that does, like, Nintendo Direct style, like, E3 events. Well, I guess E3 is, yeah, the more accurate term than Nintendo Direct. Still, they're the only food company that I know that does that shit. At least to a public level. Yeah, you know, they're good. So, yeah. And that was the only food thing I had. I think the only thing I had this week was, like, Wendy's. And that was just because I was like, I wanted a burger, but I didn't want Burger King. Like, I know Burger King has that, like, crispy onion Whopper. And I was like, maybe. But then I was like, I don't want to roll the dice and get bad Burger King. I'd rather go to Wendy's and get, you know, a burger that I like. I don't know, when I was, like, on, like, Monday and Tuesday, I didn't eat for, like, 2 days. I was so fucking out of it because of this illness. So yeah, that's that. Next up, I guess we got Silksong. So spoilers for Silksong for just fucking anything. I'm still in Act 1, by the way. I'm like 10 hours in. I'll be honest, I know, see, the game's a Metroidvania, and I've been told by other people that, like, hey, you get stuck on a boss, you get stuck doing something, just turn around and go in another direction. You're bound to find something. And, like, I know they're right, but I'll be honest, so far the game has felt, like, kind of linear to me. Like, I feel like I just keep going in straight lines and keep ending up in, like, new places. Like, because in other Metroidvanias, you'd get to a point and it'd be like, okay, I can't make any more progression forwards, so it's time to go back and go somewhere else. You know, you get stuck at a locked door that you don't have a key for, or, you know, you need to, like, double jump, or you need to be able to, like, climb walls, or dash or something. You know, last week I was complaining about how I didn't have dash. I shit you not. The next day when I played Silksong again, I played for like 10 minutes and got dash. I was right fucking there. It was like 3 rooms away. So I got dash almost immediately afterward. But yeah, in most other Metroidvanias, you hit the wall, and it's like, okay, it's time to backtrack and find a different area. Find someplace I hadn't been. That's not how Silksong has worked. Literally, I have not hit a wall. I just keep going. Sure, have I found bosses that have taken me out? Like, okay, I haven't spent an hour on any boss so far. But yeah, have I found bosses that have kicked my teeth in and I've had to keep trying over and over again? Yes. But also, anytime I find an area where it's like, oh, I feel like I need an upgrade, guess what? I find the upgrade almost immediately afterwards. So, yeah, no, I haven't come across any, like, dead ends that require me to turn around. And that kinda, you know, it's not that that sucks. That just shows that the game is so big that at no point has it required me to turn around, because there's just so much to do. So what have I done? Well, like I said, I found Dash. I don't know any of the enemies' names. The only enemy's name I've learned is the Morrowing, and that's just because everybody else hates the Morrowing. We'll get to it. Oh, I learned Greymore. I guess Greymore is one of the areas. But so where I left off, I was down in Hunter's March. I found the Dash, I think, in Hunter's March, or like in the next area over. It was pretty close by. I got the Dash ability. I used the dash to get through the area. I figured out pretty quickly that you can dash on lava. As long as you are dashing, it'll work. So that was cool. I got that done. I eventually made my way to an area where it's like this knitter. And she's like, hey, I'll knit you a better cloak that'll allow you to hover if you collect these needles. I didn't have the bestiary at this point, by the way. So when she's like, hey, I need you to kill this enemy and collect its, like... she doesn't even call them needles. They're like feathers or something like that. Or quills or something. But it was like, hey, I don't have the bestiary. I don't know what these enemies are. But I had a good guess. So I went, I killed the enemies. I was right, I got the quills. And then after that, I got her the upgraded cloak that allows me to like glide and ride on wind streams. I took that all the way up to Greymore. From Greymore, I went around. I found the Reaper cloak or the Reaper crest or whatever it's called. You know, it changes your like ability. Like it makes it so that way like your hits are slower but hit harder ? And you know how people hate the Pogo in this game? How like the Pogo in Silksong goes at an angle? The Reaper's cloak is just like a traditional Pogo. It's admittedly got a bit more like startup and end lag, but it's basically just a traditional Pogo. It works the exact same way. I've been able to do the Pogo puzzles with the Reaper's crest, and it's worked fine. So that's not an issue at all, which is nice. But so I did that. I went there, I got that, and then right from the Reaper's cloak, like a block away, is the Morrowing. If you've not been keeping up with things, which I don't blame you, again, avoid spoilers. The Morrowing is a boss. It's like a moth thing that, you know, is known for being hard. It hits, it does hard hits. You know, like every boss in this game, it does 2 damage. It's got quick attacks. I've heard people hate it. Like, that it's one of the hardest bosses early on in the game. And now, I've also heard people figured out how to cheese it. But, if I'm being completely honest, I don't think the Morrowing is that hard. I think it's only got, like, 3 attacks. It's got a dive attack, it's got a cutter attack, that, like, where it, like, dashes forward and does, like, a bunch of quick cuts. And then it's got a, where it, like, shoots, like, a razor blade that goes across the ground or goes in, like, a circle. It doesn't have that many attacks. I honestly think the Morrowing's patterns are very predictable. Same thing with, I skipped over it, but after I got the hover cloak, I fought that one boss in the trailer that has like 4 arms. It's like a giant robot in the background, but it's got 4 arms. Really cool boss. That boss also only has like 3 or 4 attacks and is super predictable. I think that boss is a piece of cake. But no, the Morrowing, I think the Morrowing is actually like attack pattern wise, it's pretty easy to figure out. Within like 2 or 3 attempts, I had figured out its attack pattern. The problem was the execution. Actually doing its attacks took a few more tries. But eventually I figured it out. I beat the Morrowing. I went into the next area, which is like a lush area with like, it's like a swamp area. I fought the other, so we're getting a patch for Silksong. And in the patch, they're actually nerfing 2 bosses. The Morrowing and Sister Grimm. I've also fought Sister Grimm. Sister Grimm, I think, is even easier than the 2 bosses I previously mentioned. Because she also only has, like, 2 attacks. 2 or 3. Admittedly, that 3rd attack is summoning enemies, and those enemies hit like a fucking truck. And, like, they have really, like, if they're attacking, they have like their own invincibility frames that are really hard to get through. But I actually think the enemies are actually pretty easy. Or like the actual boss itself, like Grim can like throw down vines, and then she does like 3 lunges in a row, and that's it. She's like a leaf bug. She hangs from the ceiling. I think she's one of the easier bosses in the game, especially once you realize you can just cut the vines. Yeah, no, I think she's one of the easier bosses. I'm surprised. I'm sure they're nerfing the enemies that she spawns, but I think she's one of the easier ones. There's a third boss that everybody's talking about early on that like is like this bug thing that summons like other allies. I have not fought that one. I have no idea where the fuck that one is. But I fought the other ones, and I think the other ones are right. I liked Sister Grimm, and I like the other one. The Morwing. Yeah, I do not think they're that hard. There are a bunch of other bosses. Like, I know there's like this fire guy that I haven't gotten to yet that I'm sure I'll find eventually. Like, it's like a jailer or something like that. I don't know. I haven't gotten that far. But so far, yeah, no, I'm enjoying it. After I beat Sister Grimm, I got to the desert. I don't remember what the desert's called. It's got like a PH in the name, I think. The desert sucks because all the environmental hazards also do 2 damage. So not only do the enemies do 2 damage, but like if you miss a jump, it also does 2 damage. That fucking sucks. 1 bad hit and you're, oh my gosh, you're out a bunch of life really quickly. I did find a shortcut that saved me some time. But yeah, the desert sucks. I was really struggling. There's wind, kind of like Celeste, you know, like you can work either with or against the wind. It kind of works like that. At some point I got the wall, I was able to climb walls. I think that was after Sister Grimm. But I eventually, I found a boss in this desert area that, if you've seen the trailers, it's the 2 cone heads. I can't remember what they're actually called, but there's like little versions of them that shoot cones, and then there's the big ones that have giant cones on their head. Easiest boss in the game so far. I beat it on my first try. Honestly, its pattern is super predictable. It has very obvious tells of like where it's gonna go. You can, at least with the Reaper, because I've still been using the Reaper, I was able to combo it and do so much damage. Just like by getting stuck in a corner with it, just combo over and over again. Yeah, it went really well. Of course, you only kill one of them. The other one runs away after you kill the first one. So I'm sure I'm gonna have to fight the second one at some point, and that's gonna be its own issue. But yeah, no, I beat that one on its first try, and then I think that's where I ended off. That was the last thing I did. Again, I'm still in Act 1. I'm only like 10 hours in, if that. I'm definitely under 10. But I'm enjoying the game. I am. I feel like there's a lot of exploration that I just haven't done because I haven't come across a dead end. Right? I've had no reason to like go back. Because, like, so far, I've only gotten, like, I only have, like, the long nail for your middle slot. I only have, like, 2 trinkets. I only have, you know, the throwing star things that you get early on. Those, admittedly, I think you forge. Because that's the one thing I will admit I'm very low on is money. The rosary beads, I feel like are so fucking rare in this game. I know there are certain enemies you can grind to get more of them, but those enemies are usually harder. I've been struggling with money because, you know, I'm trying to buy maps and whatnot. I have missed most maps, and then the one I did buy for Bellhook or Bellhaven or whatever was fucking useless. You could like I used it like once and that was it. Oh, I just know they're ending Windows 10 support. That's gonna be they're ending Windows 10 support next month, and that's gonna be a whole thing. I don't know, Windows 11 sucks. Honestly, I've kind of hated every Windows operating system since 8. Like, the last good Windows system was 7. 7 was good. 8 sucked. 10 sucked. 11 sucked. 7 was good, and XP. XP was fantastic as well. Vista, I actually never had a computer that had Vista. I stayed on XP as long as I could until I eventually got a new one that was, I think by that point 7 was out. Did my parents, maybe my grandmother, someone I knew had a Vista's machine, and it just wasn't as good. Like Windows 8, everyone is hating it, but Windows 7 was peak. Yeah, I mean, I guess, see, 10, the big problem for me is all the bloatware. If you get rid of some of that bloatware and just make it run faster, that fixes some of the issues. I don't know, my big problem with my computer... yeah, exactly, you gotta delete the bloatware on 10. My big problem is I'm out of storage. You know, doing all these videos uses up a lot of my computer storage. And I didn't actually get that much on mine. So I've just got my, I've got my default storage, and then I have a 1 terabyte that I've completely filled up. I need to get more storage on my computer. That's the thing that's killing me right now. Depends. Really, like, I keep stuff for, like, let me see. Well, we're just kind of sitting here. The oldest episode of this podcast that I have on my computer is, oh, if it loads. Is last season's episode 50. So season 5 episode 50. Which was us talking about Sonic 3. I have that one, and then I have Game of the Year, and then I have everything from season 6 so far. Yeah. You gotta keep some stuff at least for a while. You can't keep it forever. I mean, I know there are some YouTubers who still, like, God, I think of Gavin Free, who has every video he's ever made. See, but here's the thing. If you try to, like, let's say I take, like, a 1080p video, upload it onto YouTube. When you download it off YouTube, it only downloads at, like, 720p. It's not high quality. Same thing with Twitch. If you stream on Twitch and then download the VOD afterwards, it's not as high quality, which kind of sucks. Yeah, but yeah, no, I know Gavin Free has every video he has ever made, dating back to like 2004. Yeah, I know. I just wish YouTube, if YouTube had a better system, I'd have more stuff. I'd be able to download. But even still, every once in a while, I go through and purge a bunch of stuff. And because all that, like, all those episodes are on my expansion, my 1 terabyte expansion drive. On my storage, I've got, like, not that much. I think currently I have 40 gigs, and I haven't purged it in a while. So I'll probably actually purge it like this weekend. Yeah, I just need more storage. I'm completely out. No, I'm talking about if you upload a video on YouTube and go into the Creator Studio, you can download your own videos. No, I know YouTube Premium is a different thing. So, 8 gigabytes of RAM. I don't remember my RAM off the top of my head. I could go looking for it, but I'm good. For me, it's all about storage, and I use up storage so much. I'm bad. And then I hate fucking Google Drive, because once you get over, like, Google Drive gives you like 15 gigabytes free, but once you get over 8, they're constantly like, hey, upgrade your storage to get more space. Upgrade your storage to get more space. Every day I fucking go on, like, you know, Google Drive or Gmail. It's just like, upgrade your storage to get more space. Like, fuck off. I was thinking of how I need sound effects for that. Yeah. I know what you mean. And even still, some of those places don't have, like, they can only do 720 as well, depending on where you go. Yeah, no, cloud storage. You know what? Something I do hate about Windows 11 is that by default it has cloud storage turned on. So, like, you have to go in and turn it off. But if you don't immediately think, because when I got a computer a few years ago, and I didn't think to turn it off, it kept sending me messages like, your cloud storage is full. And then so I was like, okay, turn it off, and now it won't let me access any of my files. So I had to, like, re-download everything, and then delete it, and God, it was a fucking mess. The first thing you do when you get a new computer is turn off that cloud storage bullshit. Oh my God, that's the biggest bloatware of all, Windows 11 itself. Yeah. Ugh. Alright, next up, I think we got... Oh, I saw a Batman movie, yeah. So, I went and... I don't know if your local theaters do this. But, yeah, definitely. Every once in a while, my local theater does movies. Where it's like, hey, you can go see a classic movie. Usually it's like a cheaper price. And, you know, it's just whatever they can find. And this month, my theater is doing all the Batman movies. Specifically all the Christopher Nolan ones. So, last week, it was... yeah. Yeah, Windows 13. God, I don't even know if we're gonna get that far. But yeah, so last week, it was Batman Begins. Next week, it's The Dark Knight. And then I think the week after that, it's The Dark Knight Rises. So I was like, oh, cool, you know... I've been watching all these Superman movies recently. That's like the past, like, 4 months. And I was like, I should go watch some of these classic Batman movies. So I saw Batman Begins. I'll be honest, I have not seen Batman Begins since, like, probably 2015, 2016. It's probably been 10 years since I last saw Batman Begins. And so I sat down, I watched it again. I really liked it. I don't know if you watch, if you've heard of the Escape podcast. You know, it's Wallfellow and Hat Guy, and they talk about movies, and they give awful takes. Honestly, like, I have agreed with them over the years. Like, I agree with Hat Guy more than I do Wallfellow, which shows you just how bad some of my takes are. But their takes are also pretty bad. But one of Hat Guy's takes is that Batman Begins is the best Batman movie. And, you know, I've said in the past that I have complicated feelings on The Dark Knight. Because while The Dark Knight is a perfect movie, I don't know if it's a perfect Batman movie. I don't even know if it's a good Batman movie. It's a good movie, like, it's one of the best movies. But as a Batman movie, I don't know. Like, people love the Joker in it, but is it a good Batman and Joker? I'm not entirely sure. I feel like Christopher Nolan was just kind of doing his own thing. And he made an amazing movie, but is it a good Batman? I don't know. I'm seeing it again next week, so I'll tell you, we'll talk about that then. But, so that's kind of how I feel about the Nolan trilogy as a whole, though. Because The Dark Knight Rises is kind of the same way. Admittedly, The Dark Knight Rises is a much worse movie, but I also don't think it's a good Batman movie. So that's kind of always how I've treated Batman Begins. Even though I haven't seen Batman Begins in 10 years, I'm like, it's a good movie. It's just not a good Batman movie. But watching it again, I was completely wrong. No, I actually think Batman Begins is a great Batman movie. I love seeing some of Bruce Wayne's struggles, like the fact that he tries to kill Joe Chill with a gun. Like, I know Batman has a no-kill rule, but that didn't come out of nowheres. You know, that had to start somewheres. And him failing to kill Joe Chill is like a good way, you know, is a good way to start that. So that, I think, was great. All the stuff with Ra's al Ghul, where it's like, oh, you know, Bruce wants to become Batman to save the city. But Ra's al Ghul is like, the city doesn't need to be saved. It needs to be fixed. We have to destroy Batman. Let me think about it. There might be something. Let me think about it. But yeah, so I was like, no, that's all good. Batman kind of giving his reasoning for being Batman, especially at the climax. Admittedly, I don't know how near the end of the movie, Ra's al Ghul dies. And Batman basically tells him, like, hey, I'm not going to kill you, but I'm also not going to save you. I feel like Batman very much is he's not going to kill you, but he is going to try to save you. I feel like there have been multiple occasions where Batman has had the chance to, like, leave the Joker in a burning building and just not save him, and he doesn't. Like, he will save the Joker from a burning building given the chance, even if, you know, Joker's the one who started the fire and everything. So I feel like that's a little bit inaccurate. You know, that's maybe my only problem with the movie. It's kind of like when Superman killed Ultraman in the new Superman movie, where it's like, I get it, but that's kind of a problem, potentially. But that was good. All the stuff with Lucius Fox, you know, Morgan Freeman, and him and, you know, Bruce Wayne is like, oh, we're going splunking. That was all good. Oh, God. So, if you've ever seen the Museum of Twitter, it's a TikTok series, highly recommend it. Covers the most important tweets in the history of Twitter.com. They recently did an episode on Michael Caine's tweet of, why do we fall? So we can learn how to get back up. Batman Began. They say that line 3 times in the movie. Well, minus the Batman Began. And every time they say it, why do we fall? So we can learn to pick ourselves back up. I, in my brain, added Batman Began. And I just, for the next, like, 24 hours, I just kept quoting that line. Like, it was like, as I was driving home, it was raining. And I was like, why do we get wet? So we can learn to dry ourselves off. Batman Begin. So fucking funny, man. Classic tweet. I know I can't do a Michael Caine impression. Like, I'm not even gonna try. But it was a lot of fun. But yeah, the cast in this movie, fantastic. Christopher Reeves. Not Christopher Reeves. Christian Bale. Ugh. Christian Bale is a fantastic Bruce Wayne. Michael Caine is a great Alfred. Oh my god, he's perfect. Liam Neeson makes a good Ra's al Ghul, and then the fake Ra's al Ghul is it Daniel Day Kim? It might be. Either way, you know, they're good. The Commissioner Gordon is oh god, Dennis Hoffman? That sounds right in my head. Dennis Hoffman. That might not be right. No, it's Gary Oldman. Never. I don't know why I was thinking Dennis Hoffman. It's Gary Oldman. Gary Oldman is Commissioner Gordon, who does a great job. I like that he's not the commissioner yet, though. You know, he's still just a good cop. The woman they have doing Rachel, whose name I don't remember, who gets recast in the next movie, she does a good job as well. Overall, a really good, really solid movie. I think it is a great Batman movie. Is it better than The Batman? Because that was the thing I praised The Batman about back in the day, was that, you know, it was a good Batman movie. It understood Batman. And I just wasn't giving Batman Begins enough credit. So I kind of want, you know, I'm gonna rewatch all of the Christopher Nolan trilogy. But after I do that, I might watch The Batman again, because I don't think I'm overselling The Batman, because I do think The Batman is good. I'm just worried about its sequel, man. Matt Reeves has been working on it for a long time. And I get, like, the writer's strike and whatnot came in the way of it. I get that's why some of the reason it's taken so long. But God, I swear to God, if they do the Court of Owls, I swear to... Please, please give me Mr. Freeze. I desperately don't want the Court of Owls. But yeah, no, Batman Begins was a great movie. I wish they had used more Scarecrow. I like what's there. It's, fucking Cillian Murphy is the Scarecrow in this one. Does a fantastic job. But he kind of gets, you know, he gets tasered at the end and then just kind of disappears. It's kind of underwhelming, if I'm being honest. But other than that, yeah, no, he's good in everything else he's done. Yeah, I really enjoyed the movie. If you have not seen Batman Begins in a long time, give it another watch. It holds up really well and is a very good Batman movie. And now I'm excited to see The Dark Knight, because that's just one of the best movies of all time. For a long time, it was my boilerplate, my favorite movie. I don't know, I kind of feel like in the modern world, with like all the Joker stuff, saying The Dark Knight's your favorite movie, well, it's not a red flag. It definitely is a little sus. So, yeah, I'm kind of aware of that. That's why I say Kung Fu Panda 2 was my favorite movie. Because that's not... Because I don't know if that's a green flag, but I know it's definitely not a red flag. At least I don't think it's been co-opted by the right. Oh, God. Why did I go back and do this one? At least it's not the boxes. Man, do I hate those boxes. So I guess that takes us to miscellaneous. Anime. Okay, I don't know if I've watched any anime. I did check out a manga, though. I read, a few issues of a manga called... let me pull it up. It was called Kini Naru Kurumi-san. It's... Okay, I don't know why I read this. I just thought it was kind of like... The synopsis is kind of funny. So it's about this kind of nerdy guy. And, like, I honestly think Peter Parker and MJ. If I'm being completely honest, I think Peter Parker and MJ. And, you know, it's this nerdy Peter Parker guy who has a crush on this really popular girl in his class. But he can't bring himself to ask her out. And eventually they end up, like, he gets, like, beat up by bullies, and she comes to, like, defend him. And then afterwards, you find out she's, like, a total stalker. Because, as it turns out, in middle school, she used to be, like, a total nerd as well, and, like, the weird kid. But he was nice to her, so she kind of, you know, she completely reimagined herself just to be good enough to be worthy of him. To be, like, his favorite video game character. It only had, like, 5 or 6 chapters. It's a relatively new one. But I was like, that's kind of, you know, it's kind of funny. It's, you know, more of a comedy. Yes, is she stalking him? Oh, God, yes. But it's, you know, it's kind of funny. He's a nice, likable guy. The girl, you know, she's creepy, but she doesn't want to be, if that makes sense. I don't know. I don't know why I read it. I read that one, and then I also read, My Eldritch Girlfriend, which is either a manga or a webcomic, I'm not entirely sure. But it's about a guy who's dating, like, a Cthulhu. And, you know, it's just cute. It's very cute, very endearing. You know, this is what I get for taking TikTok recommendations. But yeah, it's a very cute, endearing little comic about a guy dating, like, a Cthulhu. And, you know, this one only has 13 issues. And, you know, the little wacky adventures she goes on, you know, she's got tentacles, so he wakes up with, like, tentacle marks on his face instead of, like, hickeys. I don't know. It's all PG, but it's fun. It's cute. There's another guy who might also be dating, like, an Eldritch Cryptid thing, and that's kind of the last thing I read. Yeah, I read those two. I don't think I've watched any anime. I'm trying to think. Reading both these mangas reminded me of the anime Gamers. I know for a fact I've talked about Gamers before. If you've never heard, Gamers was a manga about a guy who, he's, you know, a gamer. And he meets this girl at school who has a gaming club. That's like a competitive esports club, but he's a casual gamer. And he doesn't want to join like the competitive esports club because they're too serious. But so he rejects her, but in the process she ends up like getting a crush on him, and she falls. I only remember the girl's name. The girl's name is Karen, and I only remember that because her name is Karen. And yeah, she falls head over heels for him. I'll be honest, it's an awful show. It's messy. It's sloppy. It's stupid. It's got love triangles. It's got love pentagons. It's got love hexagons. Everyone thinks everybody else is cheating on everybody else. It's a fucking mess of a show. But I love it. It's admittedly, I do think it, when eventually they introduce a sister, they go from a love pentagon to a love hexagon, and when they do, the sister kind of sucks, and I don't feel like she adds anything to the dynamic that I think is interesting. But other than that, again, the show's a fucking mess, and I love it. I watch it for the same reason people watch, like, Desperate Housewives, or, you know, Gossip Girl, or Pretty Little Liars. Like, it's that same level of, like, slop. But man, is it fun slop? But I don't know, reading these two for some reason made me think of that one. And yeah, I don't think I've read any other manga, or watched any other anime. I don't think so, anyways. Because I guarantee you, both those manga, I'm never going to think of... Like, I read, you know, they're like 4 or 5 issues, and I'm never going to think about them again after, like, this week. I don't know, because, like, when was the last time I read Sherry's Love is 8 Meters? Another show I do think is another manga I do think is quite fun. That I'm waiting to get an anime. I feel like that's going to be a fun anime one day. But who knows? Let me look through my list. Did I watch anything? No. Nope. No. Nope, I haven't watched anything else. Just kind of looking through my most recent things. Nope, I haven't watched anything. I know, right now, I think Doug is doing his charity stream for the Monterey Bay Aquarium for Rosa. That's cool. I admittedly have not watched any of it this year. I just saw it was happening and was like, oh, cool. Hey, it's time to try for that golden mug again. I don't know. If I remember, I'll probably put another donation this year. Because I did last year. Yeah. You know what I was going through? All my charity stuff. Because, you know, over the years, you know, I've donated to charities. And, like, sometimes it's like, oh, hey, guess what? It's Rooster Teeth. We were so close. I was like, oh, it's Rooster Teeth Extra Life 2017. Hey, you donated? Here, have, you know, you bought a poster? Hey, have a free pen. Not like, when I say pen, I don't mean like pencil or like pen. I mean like the pen that you like stick in like a baseball cap or on a shirt. That's the type of pen I'm talking about. So I've just got, like, over the years, I've gotten like Rooster Teeth pens. I've got a Vine Sauce one. I've gotten so many. And so I was kind of going through them this week. I'm definitely missing one or two. But I bought a shadow box. It was like $8. And I just stuck all the pens I have in the shadow box. So I've got my, like, Rooster Teeth Pokemon badges. My, like I said, the Vine Sauce ones. I have a Mario and Luigi one. And it's just like, okay, that's neat to have. Where the fuck am I going to put it? I have no idea. But it's cool that I have it. I don't know. I did so much deep cleaning over the summer of my like office space, and then I just immediately filled it up with new shit. Like I cleaned out so much just to add more stuff. It's truly a mess. But hey, I no longer have the PS4 hooked up. Yep, I finally put the PS4 up because I had to make room for the Wii. Admittedly, I put the Wii up and then put the PS4 away like 3 weeks later. Okay, it's been longer than 3 weeks. Still. No, PS4 is no longer hooked up because I got a PS5. Oh, we're gonna cut this one close again. Anything else? Did I do anything else? Not that I can think of. You know, I was saying I need to do Dungeon Crawler Carl. The next Dungeon Crawler Carl book, The Inevitable Ruin, comes out in like 2 weeks on the 23rd. I'm still in The Eyes of the Bedlam Bride. I'm like halfway through that one. And I still got so much more to do on it. It has I realized, in the time it's taken me to do the Bedlam Bride, I've been working on the Bedlam Bride, book 6, longer than it took me to do books 1 through 5. That's how long the Bedlam Bride has took me. Not that the Bedlam Bride is bad by any means. It's just, I've been busy. I've got shit to do. Ugh. Oh my gosh. Anything else? No, I can't think of anything else. I haven't videos gamed. I mean, next week we're gonna, what, be back with Pokemon? Either we're gonna be back with Pokemon next week or we're gonna do more of this. I don't know, it just depends on what gets announced. Like last week we had, like, no news. So I just kind of sped through everything real quick. Whereas this week we had a bunch of shit. Admittedly, last week I was so tired last week. I mean, to be fair, in Pokemon, we only need to find, like, 4 guys. The shiny hunt this week is super easy. And then the final shiny, the Chi-Yu raid, we've already crossed 1 million. Oh, and they announced shiny Miraidon and Koraidon. Which, by the way, if you have not seen shiny Koraidon, it's one of the coolest shinies. Genuinely. It's like, you know, the red of Koraidon, it's like a black. It is so cool. That's getting a distribution event here in North America. I think they're doing it at GameStop, which sucks. But hey, I'll take what I can get. And yeah, that brings me one step closer. I don't know when I became so obsessed with shinies. Like, it helps that I have over 200 now. That, you know, I've done... What percentage of the decks have I done? Let me pull up my app. I don't know. I have no idea. I just know I've completed a good percentage of the decks. And I'm going to say like 20%. So basically of every Pokemon that exists, I have like 1 in 5 shiny. Which is kind of crazy for me, but I guess that's the way the cookies crumbled. Shit. Man, God, anything else? At some point, I gotta play Chibi Robo. There are too many video games right now. I've got just of stuff I want to play that's come out in like the past month. We're currently working on Silksong. We've got Chibi Robo, which released on GameCube Virtual Console. Hades comes out in 2 weeks. What's the other one? Obviously, we're working on this. After we beat this one, we're gonna be doing New Super Mario Bros. Wii. Because I haven't played New Super Mario Bros. Wii since like 2010. Since the year it released. There's definitely other like indie things that I need to be working on. I don't know, just too many video game. A lot of really good. I've seen a lot of people say like this is going to be an interesting year for Game of the Year. Because there are a lot of amazing indie games. And usually only one of them rises to the top. You know, honestly, there are so many good, like, quality games this year. I say this every year. Jeff Keighley needs to expand the pool for Game of the Year. Currently, it's at 6. I honestly think he should double it. I genuinely think that he should put it up to 12. But that's just me. Honestly, even 10 would be fine. But yeah, there are so many. I mean, Hades, Silksong, Expedition 33, which I also do need to play, Blueprints, and those are just indie games. There are 4 amazing games right there that all could be Game of the Year, and they're just indie games. And at most, probably 2 of them are going to be nominated. And then, of course, there's so many other. There's KCD 2, Donkey Kong Bonanza, Death Stranding 2, so many other good games as well that are AAA. I'll tell you what, one of them is not going to be Mario Kart World. Like, honestly, it's funny that, because, let's be honest, Sonic Cross Worlds might be a good game. It's not going to win Racing Game of the Year. I don't care how many Hatsune Mikus are in it. This is going to come down to Nintendo versus Nintendo. Kirby versus Mario Kart. And I legitimately think Mario Kart, which is a great game, is probably going to lose. Oh, Boomerang Bros. I didn't remember Boomerang Bros being in this game. I should have checked those polls. I saw the life apart as I shot. Oh, wow, that was a 1-up, really? I thought I was a little off there. And yeah, if it isn't after we beat this boss, we're done. No Hablino League for us. Oh yeah, I remember this boss. I remember really liking this boss, you know, as we get the Cloud Flower to hit the giant tower. Oh god. I like the Cloud Flower. It's got its issues, but I think it's a cool power-up. Same thing with the Rock Flower. The Rock Flower is also cool in its own way. Now the spring mushroom. Did I say rock flower? I meant rock mushroom. Either way, the spring mushroom sucks. Especially after playing like Donkey Kong Bonanza and Kirby and the Forgotten Lands. Oh my gosh, no, both those games do the spring flower or the spring mushroom better. You know what movie I want to rewatch as well? Spider-Verse. So my mother's been playing Spider-Man. She beat Miles Morales, as I think we talked about last time. And now she's working on Spider-Man 2. She started Spider-Man 2, she did the Sandman fight, and that's basically all she's done. But it kind of, watching, you know, seeing that, I'm kind of like, I kind of want to rewatch Spider-Verse. Especially the second one. I have not seen the second one in a long time. I also need to rewatch Superman at some point. I know it came out on digital a while ago, but I'm still a DVD guy, or 4K Blu-ray, whatever the fuck they're called. Even though physical media is dying, because, you know, you can't own anything anymore. These corporations are making sure of it. Yeah, look at this. You know, we were fighting a tower and now it's a fucking tank. That's cool. That's a cool idea. This game has good boss fights. So did the original Galaxy though. Okay. My only problem is they reuse the Bowser fight 3 times. They do that in both of these games. They love to reuse the Bowser fight. But other than that, no, I think these are great games with some good boss fights. It really does suck that Wonder's only problem is its boss fights. It's an amazing 2D Mario game. But man, are the boss fights not good. I mean, they're not bad. They're just not special. They're not interesting. Like climbing a tower to fight a boss in Mario Wonder like we're doing right now would have been so cool. Especially if like the Wonder Flower effect like turned it into a tank. That would have been awesome. But no. Instead, we just fight Bowser Jr. And, oh, he can turn the ground into ice. He can turn the ground into honey. I've played that game so many times, though. I know I mentioned it earlier. On, like, the year it released, I played it once by myself. You know, just, like, in my own thing. I played it once on stream. And then I played it with friends later on. Admittedly, did we beat it as friends? I don't think we actually beat it. But, you know, I still did it. I played that game a bunch. I thought it had another phase. I guess not. Whatever. So, I guess this takes us to the outro. So we'll be back next week. I'm uploading highlights onto TikTok. If you want to see the highlights of the direct this morning, they're over on the main YouTube channel. But if not, you know, I post a few clips on TikTok. I think I've got like 6 or 7. I've posted the first 3. I'll probably post the next few tomorrow. You know how it is. But yeah. I cannot believe we're doing Galaxy before Galaxy 2. You know, that just the timing of everything. If I had just waited another month or 2. But no. Of course, if I had, you know, they wouldn't be doing that. I'm just watch. We're gonna play New Super Mario Bros. Wii, and then they're gonna announce a re-release of Mario Wii. You know what that does mean, though? The fact that we're getting Galaxy and Galaxy 2 means that we're not getting Wii Virtual Console for a long time. They're gonna hold on to that one, especially with the fact that they're charging $40. We're not getting Wii Virtual Console anytime soon. No, they're gonna keep that. They are. I hope, to be fair, I hope we get DS first. I'd much rather have DS. You know, give me some Spirit Tracks. Give me some Phantom Hourglass. You know. Maybe not Mario 64 DS. Oh, speaking of 64, I think that was the 64 level. But with that, I think this is where we're going to end off. So, I hope you all enjoyed. Stay tuned for more. Till next time.